Girl, winter is so last season. And now spring's got you looking at pictures of tank tops with hungry eyes. Your algorithm is feeding you cutoffs. You're thirsty for the sun on your shoulders. That perfect hang on the patio sundress. Those sandals you can wear all day and all night. And you've had enough of shopping from your couch. Done hoping it looks anything like the picture when you tear open that envelope? It's time for a little in-person spring treat. It's time for a trip to Ross. Work your magic.
Jessica, and this is Daebak K-Rambles, where a couple of friends review Korean dramas, and we've done it. We have come to the final episode of season 5, and I wanted to go out on a banger, so I brought with me my friend Mina from the Kpop Bookshelf Podcast. How are you, Mina?
I'm well. How are you?
I am doing so well. I told you that I had a crazy week. I had a crazy day, and I did not have enough time to watch the show, but we are here. I have finished Sky Castle, and we are going to talk at length about it. I wanted to watch this show for a really long time, as a matter of fact. It had been on the docket for a while, and it kind of fell through on a previous season, but I had told you about it already in a DM. I was like, I'm going to do Sky Castle, and you were thrilled. You were super excited about Sky Castle. And then I felt awful that it kind of fell through. And so I was like, you know what? I have to bring Mina on for Sky Castle because Mina was like 110% on top of this. Like, she had watched Sky Castle. I have to do this with Mina. Like, there's nobody else. So here we are, Mina. It's been several months since I asked you to do this episode. God, I am stressed. I have to be honest with you. This show is very stressful.
It is. Not an easy watch.
Not an easy watch. Not for the faint of heart. But before we get into it, if this is your first time listening, thank you. Go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and many more. And if you like us, please give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Come and check us out on social media to stay up to date on our latest episodes and reviews. You can find us on X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Daebak Pod. Lastly, if you're a fan, please consider becoming a patron. It's a great way for you to get involved and show your support. Big change though, our new Patreon page is patreon.com/DaebakPod. Once again, the Patreon is now patreon.com/DaebakPod, DAEBAKPOD. And shout out to our patrons: Janet, Curtis, Bale, CD, Alana, Grace, Lorna, Adja, Sammy, Caitlin, Julia, Michelle, Tanmei, Erin, Marta, Delphia, Maria, Kelly, Fatima, and Sarah, new patron. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, all of you. You guys are amazing, and I love having you guys as patrons. So, Mina, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay, so I'm going to get us kicked off here with the Wikipedia synopsis. This was the better synopsis that I read that was a lot more general, but I think I wanted to go more general than specific on this one because when people hear maybe the title Sky Castle, I'm not sure people necessarily get what it's about. And if you go with like the names of like so-and-so's a neurosurgeon and so-and-so's the wife of the neurosurgeon, like it just doesn't, I don't know if it necessarily hits like just giving you the broad strokes. So here it is. A satirical series that closely looks at the materialistic desires of upper-class parents in South Korea and how they ruthlessly secure the successes of their families at the cost of destroying others' lives. The drama revolves around the lives of housewives residing in a luxurious residential area called Sky Castle, which is a reference to the elite universities in suburban Seoul. And those universities are Seoul National University, SNU for short,
yes,
Korea University, and Yonsei University. So those three universities make up the acronym SKY. And so Sky Castle is where wealthy doctors and professors live. The wives are determined to make their husbands more successful and to raise their children to be top students who will be accepted at the best universities. So they use every possible way to get that. And they do mean every possible way. So This show aired from November 2018 to January 2019. It is a winter show, so I guess it's appropriate that we're doing this kind of on the cusp of fall and winter. We're heading into the cooler months. This show is 20 episodes long, and it is directed by Jo Hyun-tak. And he's directed things like The Atypical Family from this year, 2024, Snowdrop from 2021, 2022, and Secret Healer, More Than a Maid, Who Are You? Have you seen some of these shows from this director, Mina?
Actually, I don't think so. No.
All right.
No. You watched Snowdrop, though.
I did watch Snowdrop. Boy, did I watch Snowdrop. There is a whole episode on Snowdrop that we did. If you want to scroll back in your podcast feed and listen to that, you can. It was a ride, not a good one. But it was a ride. And then Sky Castle was written by Yoo Hyun-mi. She also wrote Snowdrop, so they are frequent collaborators. She also wrote Golden Cross, Bridal Mask, Home Sweet Home, Scales of Providence, Want to Love Again, Green Rose. Basically, she's been writing since the mid-2000s. And then this show stars... This is a
many people.
Ridiculously large cast. So I'm not going to go through every single person in this cast. I'm just going to go through the mothers and the coordinator, if that makes any sense. Okay.
Yes.
I won't talk at length about what else they've been in, but I will say like who they are and who their character name is. So Yoon Se-Ah plays No Sung-hae, and she has like the bob haircut. And she's married to the lawyer or the law professor. And then we have Yum Jung-Ah. She plays Han So-jin. She's like the main mom with the pixie cut, and she's married to like an orthopedic surgeon. And then we have Tae-Ran, who plays Isuim, and she's a children's book writer, and she moves into the Sky Castle neighborhood with her husband Tae Won-young, who plays the character Hwang Ji-young, or Dr. Hwang. And then we have Onara, who plays Jinny, and she's also married to a doctor. She kind of has her hair swept to the side. She has long flowing locks.
Love her.
Yeah, she's great. And then we have Kim Seo-Hyung, who plays Kim Joo-young, who is the college entrance coordinator. She has like the severe look about her. I mean, they all look pretty severe and fierce.
Yeah. No nonsense.
But she has like a short haircut that's sort of swept back. In the show, she kind of has a bun. Yeah, in the show, it's a bun, but in all the promos, she doesn't have the bun. So I think it was a good choice not to sell it with the bun, to be quite honest with you. So those are all of this is a female-fronted, female-led show for the most part. You know, you have their husbands, you have their sons in there, and of course their daughters, their children. But for the most part, it is, you know, the mothers that are taking center stage in this story. And that's our cast. I'm not going to go through everybody. There's just so many people in this show. So, Mina, what draws you to Sky Castle? Why do you love Sky Castle so much that you've rewatched it multiple times?
Yeah. Well, I like that it's not heavy on like romance stuff, which is okay, but like sometimes I don't want to watch that anymore. You know, you can only watch that for so long. And although it's about wealthy families and there's like a class thing, which a lot of dramas has, it's presented in a really different way, I think, with a lot going on with the backstory, some of the characters, and the introduction of new characters and family dynamics, power dynamics, what's going on at work, this air of prestige, these appearances of success, and how that drives people basically almost crazy, if not actually crazy. So I just thought it had so many layers. And also, my family is from Bangladesh. I was born here, but so the whole like do well in school thing really resonated with me. I mean, not to this extent, thankfully, but you know, yeah, I really like this show.
Yeah, as a former academic overachiever, there was something really visceral about this show that I connected with. And I think that we're on the same wavelength about having you know, an ethnic coming from an ethnic background, like you're not necessarily driven to such extremes, hopefully, but you know, you are expected to do well in school.
It's also the expectation of upward mobility. It's like you got to do better than your parents, or, you know, you got to do better than the kid next door or whatever. Like there's a lot of competition built into some immigrant experiences, I think, or families of immigrant experiences.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
At least in the US.
Oh, well, yeah, at least in the US. Exactly. Yeah, so this was my first time watching Sky Castle, and
so what did you think?
Lord have mercy. So I didn't expect anything. Like, I didn't know really anything about it. I love walking into shows blind, especially when they're podcast watches, and I have heard good things like through the grapevine that it's a, you know, it's a very highly rated show and highly recommended. And I love that the poster was like all women, and for some reason I was like, yeah, I need another like search www show where I can like sink my teeth into it. And I had no idea about what it was about, that it was about the education system in Korea and how flawed it is and how crazy it makes the families, especially in this pressure cooker situation of these elite families. So damn, this was a good show. I fucking loved it. It was amazing.
I was worried you might not.
No,
good.
No. It was so good. It was very heavy. It was very intense, very angsty. I think what was cool about it was that you kind of, at least me, how I watch a show is you kind of start rooting for characters from the get-go. You start reading characters, you're watching their every move, and you're analyzing them, and you're like, okay, I'm totally on their side because X, Y, Z, and the other. But in this case, by the end of episode 1, the only thing that I knew was that there was going to be more feral murder happening. Like, that was my my prediction was they're going to start killing each other. Like, it's going to get worse, way worse than it already is. And that's not really much.
It's going to get ugly.
It's going to get so fucking ugly was my assumption. And my assumption was absolutely correct. And that wasn't much of an assumption. This is very much in a makjang-esque style.
I know that's not your favorite style, but
it's not my favorite style, but I fucking ate this shit up. It was so good.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like it has makjang
Yes.
kind of vibes, but then it's more intellectual.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
more like cerebral.
Yes, exactly. So it wasn't kind of lower class or like baser,
lowbrow
kind of like makjang. There wasn't a lot of like food slinging and stuff, but it was good. Like, it was juicy. It was intense, and I loved the energy of it. And I loved the stakes that they just kept getting higher. And I loved that the characters that I thought that I was rooting for and that I thought had a lot of grit. And I was like, okay, I understand where they're coming from. I totally want them to succeed. They turned out to be totally unhinged. Like, I was like, it gets increasingly more unhinged.
Mm-hmm. But not in a way that you're like, I can't watch this anymore.
No. Definitely not. I was like, actually, I need to press play right now, and it's 3 a.m. All in all, really solid show. One that I would wholeheartedly recommend to people, even if you're more of a romance girly. I think that there's a lot of social commentary. As it said in the Wikipedia synopsis, it's satirical. So it's going to make a comment. It's going to say something. I love that about it. I thought it nailed everything that it was trying to do.
Yes. I think the acting was crazy incredible. So good. Everybody acted their asses off. The kids, everybody.
The kids, the adults, everybody. And there was quite a lot of comedic relief, especially like a certain family in particular was very funny. And there was a lot of comedic relief moments throughout, which sort of broke the tension.
Yeah.
It helped
so
you
much.
kind of get through some of those heavier episodes. I mean, even if they weren't there, I think it would have still been a really compelling watch.
Yeah, I mean, if it had been like a really straight drama without so many comic relief moments, it would still be really good, solid drama.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is straight crazy though. Like this is crazy through the vein. So if that's not your bag, don't watch it.
Yeah, if you don't want to be stressed out, if you don't want your blood pressure raised, maybe don't.
Yeah,
watch
because
it.
it's gonna infuriate you. Honestly, it will infuriate you. It will make you really angry in a lot of instances. If you're not into that, if you want all the warm and fuzzies, babes, this is not the show for you. This is not the show for you at all. I think this show at the time of airing became the highest rated series in Korean cable television history. It received positive reviews across the board, won multiple awards, including 4 Baeksang Awards. The director won a Baeksang Award. And currently, Sky Castle is the 4th highest Korean drama in cable television history. And I think you might be wondering, like, what's the top 10? Maybe what's the top 5? I have them here for you. So the top 5, I'll give you the top 10. Number 10 is Extraordinary Attorney Woo. Number 9 is Mr. Sunshine. Coincidentally, Mina is on both of those episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened.
Nothing but the best.
Mina is on both of those podcast reviews for Extraordinary Attorney Woo and Mr. Sunshine. So if you want to hear my thoughts and Mina's thoughts on those 2 top-rated K-dramas, scroll back in your podcast feed. Number 8, Dr. Cha. Number 7, Guardian, the Lonely and Great God. Also got an episode on that. 6, Reply 1988. 5, Crash Landing on You. Of course, we covered that on season 1 of Daebak. Number 4, just said, was Sky Castle. Number 3, Queen of Tears. Just happened this year. Unseated Sky Castle this year.
Wow.
Number 2 is Reborn Rich. And then number 1 is The World of the Married.
I still need to watch.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. Maybe we'll reunite for World of the Married.
Top rated K-drama on cable.
Yes, the top rated K-drama. All right. So I have here culture critic Dong Dok-hyun says the drama has received attention from viewers because it successfully strikes an uneasy chord while heightening viewers' curiosity over the lengths to which rich elite families obsess over education. He also says, and I quote, "In terms of education, the drama satisfies people's desire to peek into what those closed rich family circles do for their children. But at the same time, viewers feel uneasiness when watching their stories. Those 2 conflicting emotions, wanting to know but feeling uncomfortable, makes for some interesting chemistry in the minds of drama fans and puts it on the must-see drama list." So there is some truth to the fiction, is what we're trying to say here, that a lot of people see this hyper-competitive education system and the pressure to enter a prestigious university as being part and parcel of the real Korean society experience.
Mm-hmm. They're actually making a Japanese version of this show. I don't know if you saw
Yes, they're making a remake in Japanese. And I think there's a sequel, actually. And I can't remember what the sequel to Sky Castle is called.
Really?
Yeah, I saw it on my drama list that it was like labeled as a sequel, and I was like, the hell? Anyway. So this definitely triggered a lot of people. I think it tapped into something that was already in the zeitgeist, already in people's minds, because whoever has a child in Korea, whoever has a high school student in Korea is going through this process and trying to, forge a path here, because everybody is pretty much excellent. And that's the problem. How do you distinguish yourself from everybody else who's excellent? And that's when this hyper-competitive nature really rears its ugly head. And not that the U.S. system isn't competitive, but geez, not like this.
Thankfully.
Thankfully. And we've had scandals of our own. Geez, do you remember that scandal with the Full House lady?
Aunt Becky?
Oh
yes,
my God. When Aunt Becky what was it? Buying.
She went to jail. Trial.
You're right. She went to jail for. Did she buy
basically
her
buying like her child's place at, I think, USC?
Yeah.
University of Southern California, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But there was like this whole thing of, at least in Southern California, of rich people staging like that my kid's on the water polo team, even though they don't even know how to swim, and like lying basically on applications, paying someone like a coordinator to fix basically an application such that they'd be more likely to get chosen to go. And what was interesting, not that University of Southern California is a bad school or anything, but it was like just kind of random schools that the people who went to jail for. It wasn't necessarily like Harvard or Stanford.
It wasn't even the Ivies.
So,
yeah,
it was sort of weird that like, oh, is it that serious to go to USC? But yeah, I guess it is. So yeah, Becky went to jail from Full House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think her daughter's an influencer, so it all worked out, I guess.
It all worked out. Her destiny came true. Either way.
We don't mean to laugh, but like you have to laugh to keep from crying sometimes, I guess. Because it's just
Truly
wild. It's wild out here. So it's not like it doesn't happen over here, the craziness and the pressure to do well. That there's funnel schools for the Ivies. I think that this show reminded me heavily of Dead Poets Society, which is one of my favorite movies.
What? How?
Dead Poets Society?
Well, I'm thinking of the teacher-student relationship.
Oh, no, no.
I was like, that's not in here.
No. It's really...
Captain, my captain. No.
It's really Neil's relationship with his father that is the crux of the whole movie in the third act that reminded me heavily of, this
Sky
show.
Castle.
And also the broader message of don't conform, forge your own path, and all of that good stuff that Captain, my captain, Mr. Keating taught us in Dead Poets Society. These sort of values. And as a matter of fact, the show Sky Castle invokes Dead Poets Society.
That's right.
At the end of the show, like one of the final
right.
episodes, they're like, do you remember when we were kids and we watched Dead Poets Society and we said all this stuff and we weren't going to do this? And I was like, oh, so I wasn't crazy. Like they were actually
Full
calling
circle.
attention to it. Yeah. So anyway, I like that about the show, that it's almost like media is reconciling with these ills in society in a delayed way, because this isn't new. Like this problem that they've had has been covered in other K-dramas. It's been covered in other movies, and obviously in the news, different craziness happening. But this show was simply addicting to watch, and it's like watching like Real Housewives at the same time. Like there's a lot of like cattiness happening between the moms.
Oh, but the cattiness of the dads. Come on.
My
that was crazy.
That too. Like it's like a medical drama, Real Housewives, Dead Poets Society, a school drama, like all mixed in one.
Mm-hmm.
Then it becomes kind of like a murder mystery, like in the last half of the show. It is honestly a lot of things. It touches on a lot of genres, micro genres as well. And that is pretty fun and unique about it. It keeps you interested in coming back for more. Obviously, I think the way that it was shot as well was particularly good. I think the cinematography of it, they would have shots of the camera would be inside the car, and then someone would get out of the car and they would follow the person, but they would pull the camera through the car window and like keep walking with the person. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't. These sort of things are technically cool to do. And so they were doing a lot of that, a lot of close-up shots of hands and feet, of characters, so many showing hesitation, resolve, anguish, nervousness, restraint, control, characters straightening objects like in their vicinity, like a towel on a rack or a phone on a table, and these things just playing up their characterization and parts of themselves which they want to display, right? They want to show, oh, this person is in control of their surroundings. They're a controlling person. They want to have everything their way. So I love those close-up shots. I love those cool handhelds that they were doing from the car through the window and like onward walking with the subject. It was cool. And a lot of shaky cam that they were doing, like a lot of shaky cam.
I really like too the wardrobe and sets because you kind of got, and we'll get into more later, but like going from a place like People's Mansions in this like stony neighborhood, you know, or Tony, not stony,
Mediterranean kind of looking.
And it was just, which by the way, there is really, I mean, this is at the time the drama came out, there were articles about how there really is a Sky Castle-esque neighborhood in Seoul somewhere, or like in a suburb of Seoul.
There would be.
And yeah.
I'm literally not surprised.
No, right. It's not surprising. The juxtaposition, though, of like going from a Tony neighborhood and these mansions and whatever to kids going to the like below their Kumon Hagwon Academy convenience store, you know, and like mingling with the people or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like it was very interesting. Like the decor of like the very stringent household and the very kind of stark interior design, and then the ones that are a little more homey, and because lady had like other lady had house plants and stuff like that. And then the wardrobe too, like I was saying, the clothes the elegant wives wear, and then the doctors, you know, walking around in their lab coats and stuff. But then, you know, sometimes kids are just wanting to be kids, but some of the kids are wearing super kind of stuffy looking pajamas, and like you can tell these are like rich people. So I found the wardrobe too and setting to be very interesting as well.
Yeah. All of it just made for a very elite, not to use elite again, but like it was an elite drama. I felt that it totally deserved that number 4 spot or the top 10 spot. It was great. I thought everybody hype it up as much as you want. It's amazing.
Yes.
Is there a character that you really connected with?
Oh yeah. Okay, wait. So many, because you had, hold on, I'm going to make sure I get the names right. So first of all would have to be the mom who moves in, new mom in town, Lee Soo-im. She's a children's book author, and she kind of does not belong there, really. But she's there because her husband's a doctor, and he basically takes a position over because someone else becomes indisposed. So they have to leave. And
yeah, we can't spoil that much, but yeah.
Yeah, they have to leave the neighborhood is all I'm saying. And so anyways, so they can move in, new family moves in, and then she's basically like kind of our eyes and ears in a way, like us the viewer, unless you are a Sky Castle resident in real life, because she is the one seeing it as an outsider at first, and then she kind of, though, you know, gets involved in some of this a little bit. And then Hena, the child, Hena, the student Hena, I really was, I don't know why I felt like I identified with her. I think because she, as a student, had this sense of like justice or like self-righteousness, both, I guess. And I don't know. I think some of us when we were teenagers, especially if we weren't super rich, we feel like a little bit like have those moments or whatever. We're like, this whole system sucks. Like, you know, so yeah. How about you?
I really loved Hannah because she was really bombastic and fierce. She was not afraid of the grown-ups. She was not afraid to face off against the adults. There were many points that she would be threatening or condescending or rude to them, and rightfully so. You know, rightfully so. You're kind of like, yeah, stick it to them. She never backed down, and she always just wanted what was best for her within the confines of what is righteous, you know, what is right for and fair for everybody in this school, for every student. I liked that she was kind of this a little bit
well, she wasn't above a little bit of blackmail.
Exactly. I was like, she was playing dirty, and I was about to say that she was like playing dirty, and the thing is, she was beating them at their own game.
Yeah, she's one-upping them like at every turn.
Exactly.
And it was kind of awesome to see that.
Exactly. So I loved her. I loved her so much. And then I got to be honest, I loved our bob cut girl, Sung-hae, who was married to the lawyer. So she was also one of my favorites because I thought that she had a resilience that some of the other moms didn't express. And you could tell that she was very intelligent and she was very educated, and she felt deeply for the struggle of her children, and she was fighting the patriarchy. It was almost like she was fighting the patriarchy within her own home before fighting the larger systems that were at play in like the society at large, because she was basically living with the tyrant. And so
the Pyramid Dad.
Yeah.
My
Pyramid
cousins and I
Dad.
watched this together and we called him Pyramid Dad.
It is
We still call him that. He's in other dramas and we're like, Pyramid Dad is in that drama.
Dad. No.
Yeah.
I agree completely. He's Pyramid Dad. And he's utterly ridiculous. Like, you can't take him seriously, but he is very intimidating at a lot of junctures in the story, and in their family story in particular. And I felt incredibly, sympathetic and empathetic toward Seung-hae as a mother, because she's trying to do right by her kids. She's not trying to break up the family. She's trying to play the peacemaker, humble herself all the time, but she is clearly smarter than her husband. So like, she's trying to play within his arbitrary patriarchal rules, and he demands respect. He wants this. He wants to be the breadwinner. He has control of the family finances, and she's like working within all of this shit that's like working against her. And so I just thought that she had a great story, a great arc, and I love how she handles her biz by the end of the show.
She's such an advocate for her kids, which some of the other moms are not in the same way that she is.
Yeah. And I thought that she had a better relationship with her children from jump. Like, from day one, her and her children were on the same page. They, understood each other. There was a bond there that they didn't share with their father, because he was constantly cracking the whip and constantly telling them to study. And it was a very fractured relationship, or one that was never built between him and his children. So she'd put in I don't want to say work, because I don't want to consider it work, but she loved on her kids. And they loved her back. Like, it was very simple. And it always was that simple, Like, he didn't get it. Like, the dad just didn't get it. So anyway.
Well, he just like commanded and demanded respect, and she saw it as a more reciprocal relationship, like the one with her kids. I mean, that relationship is reciprocal. It's not like, I gave birth to you, so you must respect me, or I gave birth to you and you must, do this and the other. She was more like, oh, they're humans.
Yeah.
And they have feelings and rights and this and that too. So, I think she was just more humanistic. I don't know if that's the word, but like compared to the way some of the other moms ran their households, or, she definitely had a more built a rapport, saw them as people, consider their feelings, and not only status, grades, tests,
Exactly.
what people think.
So I loved her character. I was going to refer to Snowdrop, but you haven't watched the Snowdrop yet.
No.
Because Kim Hae-yoon plays Yeso, who is one of the students. She is our pixie cut lady's daughter, and she is like at the center of everything, right? Yeso, I was convinced I wasn't going to like forgive Yeso by the end of the show.
I know.
With Plan B emergency contraception, we're in control of our future. It's backup birth control you take after unprotected sex that helps prevent pregnancy before it starts. It works by temporarily delaying ovulation, and it won't impact your future fertility. Plan B is available in all 50 U.S. states at all major retailers near you, with no ID, prescription, or age requirement needed. Together, we've got this. Follow Plan B on Insta at Plan B One Step to learn more. Use as directed.
Because I gotta be honest, this actress in Snowdrop, I have not forgiven her for what she did in Snowdrop.
Okay.
This is a lot of like the energy and the shit she was giving in Snowdrop. So I was like, yeah, I know who you really are. Kim Hae-yoon, everybody knows her from Lovely Runner this year, and they have fallen head over heels for her this year if they hadn't watched her in anything else. Honestly, she's a two-faced bitch. I'm sorry. Like, I know that she's an actress, but it was too real. It was too good. She did too good of a job in Snowdrop, too good of a job in Sky Castle.
But she's a little more redeemable towards the end of Sky Castle.
Exactly. By the end of Sky Castle, I was like, oh, thank God.
I thought the girl who played her little sister, Lee Ji-won, who played Kang Ye-bin, was incredible as an actress. So good. And like giving major little sister vibes, neglected child vibes, not the favorite vibes so well. And then her bond with Hena, all so believable compared to like, the way she's relating to the other characters was so good, I thought. And even like with the book mom and like showing moments of vulnerability with some people or like whatever. I just thought she was so good, and I wish she would give her something. Give her an award.
Give her an award.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about Sky Castle that isn't spoiler? We have literally not really spoiled
I know
this show. There are some like major things that we're just sidestepping.
Well, I want to just mention, just for the listeners, in case anyone doesn't know, like a little bit, as far as what I know from what I've read, which take it with a grain of salt because I don't know everything. I'm not Korean, but like Korea is one of the countries where it's like if you don't do well in the CSATs, as they call it there, and similar to our SATs, but their CSATs, College Scholastic Aptitude Test or whatever, it's so serious that like they can't fly planes overhead during the exam. Like they reroute planes so that they won't fly over schools. There's like certain songs that are like banned or something, and I don't really understand that, but I think it's because like become like earworms. So when you're in the test and you're freaking out and you're like, what is this math, like what's the quadratic formula, and in your head you're like ring ding dong ring ding dong. So that was a banned song. So anyway, but it's so serious because it's one of those countries. Yeah. No, I could see myself doing that in that situation. Like I'd be like, I have to do something important, but your head is doing like, some song. Anyways, it's one of those countries where this is a make it or break it test. So if you don't do well, your life is kind of over. And actually, especially during the Asian economic crisis in like the late 90s, from what I've read and heard, not an expert, a lot of people became like idols because they're like either like, listen, I'm not super scholarly, I'm not super academic,
but I'm pretty.
It's not really my thing. Yeah. Or like I can become pretty. Plastic surgery is a big thing in South Korea.
Plastic surgery, capital of the world.
You can become pretty. You can learn how to dance a little and sing a little. And so a lot of people just went to, if they weren't from Seoul, maybe went up there to like audition and try to become famous instead, because this is because if you don't do on the CSATs, from what I understand, you won't get into a Sky School, the Seoul University, Korean National University, and Yonsei, which is kind of the goal. Everyone, like here, it's nice to get into Ivy League, but like your life goes on if you don't. But there, it's like, no, like for some people, no, it doesn't. Like not enough, because there's a status association. And then not only that, you have to become either like a doctor, or a dentist, or a lawyer or something, I think. And again, my family's from Bangladesh, so there's same kind of thing where like certain professions are seen as way more prestigious and other professions are not worth it. And so like even my parents were like, no, you can't major in music because that's ridiculous. So, but I didn't become one of those things, the doctor, lawyer thing. But, yeah, so that's kind of the background or backstory to the premise of this drama. And so because of that, there is a lot of links people will go to succeed. And we have that a little bit here, the Kumon, aforementioned Kumon that we also have in the US, or like whatever kind of types of schools, or SAT prep, books and classes, and or MCAT, LSAT, all that stuff, the standardized tests we have to get into higher education and higher fields of study. There's a lot of people who, if you can afford that, you have a one up, right? So if you magnify that by like a gajillion, that's what Sky Castle is.
Exactly.
These people have the means to like pay for someone to basically like almost guarantee that their kid is going to get into Seoul National University Medical School in this case. So
yeah, SNU Med School is what you would read on the subtitles, but that's Seoul National University Med School. And absolutely, they are paying for a coach to come in and not only one-on-one teach their child and tutor their child, but they have a whole team of people behind them that are specializing in different subjects and are also helping them and coaching them, teaching them their subjects, I think there was a big emphasis in the show of teaching to the tests.
Well, because the end goal here is not like because think of the subjects you study in high school. In like we study English, in their case Korean, or they may also study English as like a foreign language. So it's like how we may study whatever language. And those are like important skills. But if you're going to go to med school, how much are you really going to need? Let's say Latin, German, whatever. You may not, right? So even though you need to do well on the test, if that's part of the CSATs or whatever. So then you need to hire a tutor to like, so you just nail that part of the test so that you go to Seoul National University Medical School, become a famous surgeon, your family can like, bask in your glory and you've honored them and all this kind of jazz. So I think that's why like the goal is not like academic aptitude, actually. It's just like nail this test and get a gleaming application. And applications, even for jobs in Korea, there's a lot of personal information. It's like a whole packet. And so as far as I know, so like for example, people's photos go on their job application. I have done episodes in my podcast in the past where I talked about how mental health and psychology and counseling, these are things that some people in Korea up until recently, or even maybe still now, are reticent to seek that kind of medical care because they feel like it will end up on their record somewhere that their future employers could go into, or potential employers can go into and see like, oh, you've been in therapy, so I'm not going to hire you, that kind of thing. So there's like a lot riding, like everything rides on all this stuff. And then the rest of your life is shaped and formed by your high school experience. And so that's why for these elite families, it's like maintaining this status, because you don't want like that one thing that's big in this story is like 3 generations of doctors who went to Seoul National University, or my child was the #1 student in all of Korea at his graduating class. These are big deals, and you don't want your child to fall behind now, because now precedence has been set by your ancestors or your relatives, whatever. And so it's like you have to keep up for your whole family. Mm-hmm. So you're bearing the burden for your whole family.
And that's a little difficult for, I think, some people who didn't grow up anywhere near that level of competition and pressure and family prestige. I mean, it was difficult for me to even understand. I was like, I don't get it. Like half the time they're like, we need a third generation of doctors, like that third generation of doctors. And I was like, the fuck you talking about? Like you have 2 generations of doctors. That's amazing as it is. Like, can't you just like take it and leave? Like you need a third generation for real? Like, it's crazy. Well,
it all reflects back on the mom. Like, it's, at least from when you watch Sky Castle, you get this idea of like whatever success your child has is a reflection of you, and that's why the moms are so kind of batshit crazy about everything, because exactly. they're like, it's a competition about how good of a mom are you. Not good enough. If your child fails, it's on you, even though you're not the one who went and took the test. But that's why they bend over backwards to make them succeed at like any cost almost. So
right, you touched on something about the moms, is that the husbands and even the pro coach that they hire in the show expect all of the mothers to be stay-at-home moms and be a slave to their children's education and success, not work or have a career. And if they do have a job, it's seen as a faux pas. Like, it's the child's success will be in jeopardy because they don't have this slave labor. Picking them up, taking them to school or to the hagwon, advocating for them, researching how best to achieve their goals, making nutritious food for them, constantly being on their ass about studying. And that whole concept of this gender norm was very intriguing to me.
I think I will say this just based on how much Korean news I watch. I think the reality for most Korean people is that both parents work. But the issue here is they are living in Sky Castle. So this is like an added layer of like, this is maybe not every Korean person's experience where like your mom stays at home and makes you, nutritionally adequate meals all the time or whatever. It's more, and like the correct humidity of your room for studying and the ample lighting and blah, blah. But that is what's happening in Sky Castle, because this is a very exaggerated version of the
satirical
pressures that many Koreans, it's satirical, exactly. But there is really who knows what goes on there. There really is or are neighborhoods that are similar to this, where it's like successful people all living together in this compound, essentially.
It is a compound.
It is. But the point of it, I think, here is like, this is such an exaggerated version. And that's why maybe some people who are Korean probably did identify with it, because they maybe had some level of this intensity, but not to this extent. This is just like crazy over the top version, because they're trying to also maintain their status. If you live in Sky Castle and your kid doesn't go to a Sky school, then what's the point, So
yeah, exactly. So I really thought that was interesting about the moms and how it might be a little outmoded, like by today's standards, to expect a woman to quit her job when she gets married or when she's pregnant to stay home with the child, especially because of the cost of living in Korea and how you need a dual income to just subsist and all this stuff, and even to raise a child, how expensive it is. You need the dual income. But I mean, I think the gender norm is changing out of economic necessity.
I think it is and it isn't, because a lot of the articles I read both about Japan, there were a lot of articles a few years ago, because I'm an elder millennial, and if I had talked about the book Kim Seo-Hyung, born 1982.
Yeah.
And so that's about a kind of generic Korean elder millennial who was sold this thing. This is the first generation of girls and boys, but girls and kids that were told, like, if you're a girl, you can do anything. And like, you know, this in America, like, women couldn't open credit cards till like 1960, whatever it was, like kind of recently.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't do this and that without your husband or your father's permission, even in America. So in Korea, they were also sold this idea of like, you know, you're not like your moms or your grandmothers. You can like earn a living and be just like a man and go to school and become a doctor, go to Seoul National University. And when we were younger, elder millennials, like it wasn't as common to have as many women in the career of medicine and be doctors, but now, you know, afterwards it was, and lawyers and everything. But the problem in these articles, there's a series of them that were in the New York Times. Again, this was about Japan, but it's very similar to Korea, where, and also even America, you can extrapolate, which is that the men still don't do, for whatever reason. The gender norms kind of just happen anyway. Like, who's doing the bulk of the laundry? Who's doing the bulk of the childcare? Who knows their kid's teacher's name? Who knows their kid's pediatrician's name? It's usually the mothers, even though they're working just as many hours. And in Korea and Japan, they work way more than our like standard kind of 40 hours a week. They're working like 56. One politician wanted to raise to like 60 hours a week in Korea or something, the work week. So it's very crazy and hectic. Yeah.
But mom still does everything, is what you're saying.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, the gender norms in theory or on paper it's becoming more equitable, but it's really kind of still there, because also in Korea, there's still a lot of expectations about women this, women that. They're still working on their Me Too movement and feminism there. It's still like a whole big prickly subject. So it's not quite. And even here, because again, if you look at like, they do surveys for like the OECD, the economic economic whatever, and of development, and they look at developed countries, developing countries, and what is going on and who's doing what and how much money do they make, how much time off do they get for like maternity and this and that. They look at all these things, and when you look at the surveys for people who are from that elder millennial generation, again, who in theory they're raised to believe like men can do housework and women can be, you know, Wall Street brokers, whatever. That's great, they do, but what actually happens is the amount of laundry done by husbands, not the same. It's not actually equal for any of those three countries I mentioned, the US, Korea, and Japan. It's still mostly women doing, like, who's packing lunches, who's cooking dinner, who's dealing with I got to get picked up from school, and who needs to meet with the teacher over bad grades, who needs to buy a gift for someone's friend's birthday party. Like, the dads have no clue still in all these countries, right? In a lot of cases, obviously not all men, not every dad, but I'm just saying, like, from these surveys, economic surveys and things, that's what has been found, including through this generation of people.
Yep. Breach. So anyway, this show covers gender norms and gender roles
dynamics
very heavily. And you just got a lot of bad parents. Like, everybody is pretty much rotten in the show. Like, at one point or another, you're kind of sold that maybe they're not so bad, and then they prove you wrong. So I love that. I love that you get proven wrong. Like, your assumptions about some characters and the way that they act, it changes and it flows, and they're making really stupid decisions, and they're just foul. Like, everybody's foul. So I enjoy that. I enjoy seeing some foul people get together and live in this giant, beautiful compound, exclusive community. And all their houses are like set up on a hill. It's got like the good feng shui, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the back of the house is like facing the mountain. And then the front
east facing windows.
Yes. Yeah. Like, it's all like, you kind of get this feeling that it's literally all intentional. Long story short, I love watching stupid, selfish, rich people have a crack at each other and drive their kids to madness. And that's what this show is. So with that being said, I think we're going to get into the spoiler section. But before we do, Mina, what would you rate the show out of 5 soju bottles?
I think I have to give it 5 out of 5 soju bottles. I've watched it like about that many times almost. I think I watched it 4 times. So, and I really like find something new each time that I'm like, oh yeah, this now what makes sense why that happened last time. I didn't quite grasp it then, but now I do. So I think you get a lot out of it with multiple viewings. That's always a sign of a good show, I would say. So yeah, I think I'd give it 5 out of 5 soju bottles.
Yeah, I'm feeling really generous tonight, so I'm going to give it 5 out of 5. But honestly, I can't see my score really coming down. Maybe just because it's not that rewatchable. It's like a lot. It's so much. So maybe.
I mean, I watched it maybe like once a year.
Okay.
Okay. Or 1.5 years went by and then I watched it. It's not like I binge watch it every weekend. It is way too heavy. Heavy.
I feel like the sting might wear off a little bit over time especially because you know what's happening. When you don't know what's happening, you don't know what's coming next. You're kind of like, what the fuck? Like, this is crazy. And you feel sort of trapped like the characters do. And I think that trapped feeling, you won't get that on rewatch because you know what's coming down the pike. But 5 soju bottles out of 5. So excellent. Just an excellent all-rounder of a show. A lot of drama. So much drama. So we're going to get into it. I got to be honest, I don't have no notes. I have no notes for this. We're just winging it, but we'll get into the spoiler section and we'll do our best after this.
Excuse me, 뭐라고?
괜찮아.
You know, I have no 친구. Oh, sorry.
Swear, disgusting shit.
What?
All right, we're on the other side of spoilers, so we are going to spoil exactly what happens in Sky Castle with no notes. So, without any notes, we're going to talk about episode 1 first. Episode 1, you get introduced to all of the families, and there is a party happening in celebration of one of the kids getting accepted into SNU med school. Mm-hmm. And there's like a foxtrot happening after NDAs are signed. There's a There's a quartet there.
String quartet.
Yes.
They're serving lobster.
They're serving lobster. And it's extremely fancy. One of the fathers is staging a protest because he doesn't want to go to the party. He's kind of being petulant, but you're kind of on his side. You're like, I kind of get it. I don't want to go to parties either. I don't want to dress up fancy.
Yeah, but this is also the key point here is Yeso's mom is throwing this party for Young-jae's mom, not for Young-jae.
Exactly.
And the point of it is to get her hands on Young-jae's portfolio, aka his college application, the whole packet we were talking about.
Yeah.
And that's why her Yeso's dad doesn't want to be there because he's like, I'm not sucking up to this lady.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's pretty sure that's what happened.
Should we call him like Goatee? We'll call him Goatee.
Sure.
And then Pixie Cut is Yeso's mom, Sojin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Yeso is Snowdrop, Haejun's
lovely runner.
Lovely runner girl. We'll call her Lovely Runner because I think everybody will know.
And Young-jae is the guy also from Lovely Runner. Young-jae's the guy who gets into Seoul National University.
Oh, yes. He's like barely in the show, but yes.
He's barely in this show. He kind of comes back way later after a while.
Mm-hmm.
But in the first episode, he's there because he's the one who got into Seoul National University Med School. He's in Lovely Runner as her like other dude that's like in her high school life. So little reunion happened during Lovely Runner, I guess.
Nice. So this is this family, and Goatee is staging a little protest. He shows up wearing hiking clothes, athleisure, and everyone else is wearing gowns and suits. And, you know, he's just being a little nasty. But I liked him. Like, in episode 1, I liked the dad, the Goatee dad.
Yep.
Goatee
surgeon dad.
Shit. That goes sideways like so fast in this show. But anyway, the mom whose son got into SNU med school does not want to give up the portfolio. They try to schmooze her, they try to booze her, and like nothing's working. She says explicitly she's not going to give up her son's portfolio, but she'll help one of them, whoever banks with Hanam Bank, get an invitation to this. And this was crazy. Like, this is when I was like, whoa, gotta suspend disbelief here, because I hope to God this doesn't happen. That a bank in Korea, under the guise of an investment meeting, hosted this big mixer for mothers of like students to, it was like an auction, like for these specialized coordinators, college entrance coordinators. And I was like, whoa, we are off to a fine start here, because
now in the show, they say there are similar events like this in the U.S. The characters say this.
Yes.
Is this true? I do not know. I tried to look for that. I couldn't find it, but I don't think people would put that on the internet like that.
Exactly. So like that would never.
Take that with what you will.
Right. Like Full House, Lori, what's her
Lori
face?
Loughlin.
Lori
Yeah.
Loughlin would never put that on the internet if that existed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how Pixie Cut gets paired with our coordinator, which I don't know how.
The bun lady.
Bun lady? All right. We'll call
The
her
coordinator.
the coordinator. We'll call her the coordinator. All right.
Yeah.
This coordinator has a perfect record. She gets 2 students into SNU every year, and she only takes 2 clients every year. She's the one who got this kid from the neighborhood into SNU med school. So here we go. Like, this is it. This is our meet cute with the 2 ladies who end up going head to head in the rest of the show. The coordinator's going to be teaching and handling Yeso for 3 years. So Sky Castle, the show, takes place over the course of 3 years. The end of episode 1 ends with this mom who was being congratulated and given...
Wait, before we get to the mom.
Oh.
I will say Young-jae hides an iPad.
Yes, he does.
Young-jae hides an iPad, and there's something secret, the secret iPad hidden in this random part of his house.
Yeah, he hides it in like a top drawer of his desk in his room, because he's going on a trip and his mom was gifted a big cruise as well to go on with her mother as a reward for doing such a stand-up job of getting her son into SNU.
From his dad.
So the dad gave this gift to the mom. Which I had like issues with that in and of itself, because it was this sets up like these rewards for the mothers and how they are only given like value and affection if their children are successful. Otherwise, they are, demeaned.
Well, I think it's like the husbands have the pressure of maintaining whatever prestigious job they have, surgeons and whatever they are, professors. The wives have this pressure of their turning out perfect kids, however that happens. And then the kids have the pressure of being perfect themselves. So it's not equally distributed pressure, I don't think necessarily, or I don't know, I guess it's just very different for each of them. But yeah, it's true. It's sort of icky. It's like, okay, you get these cruise tickets and this party's actually for the mom, not even for the kid who got into school, this school.
Yeah.
It's all very weird. Very weird.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And you can see all the other moms watching as she gets this gift at the party, and
so showy. It's not just like a subtle gift. It's like presented to her at this ball with like this string quartet in the background, lobsters and on platters and whatever. So it's like a whole thing. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. It's very performative. Almost everything that they do in the show is performative. And so this was one of those moments, and you get that immediately from episode 1, that they're performing for each other.
Definitely.
And then, all hell breaks loose at the end of the episode. You get the iPad hiding thing, and the mom shoots herself in the head.
Yeah.
And commits suicide.
Trigger warning.
Oh, yeah. Trigger. The only 2 trigger warnings in the whole show were for suicide and I think violence.
Death.
Oh, death or something. In the upper left corner, Netflix was like, suicide and violence. That's all you got. Like, no sexual anything. Like, really no profanity or anything in the show. But, oh, yeah, suicide, definitely. Because at the end of episode 1, this suicide colors, like, the next set of episodes as this community grapples with her loss. The family completely falls apart. What the hell does the coordinator have to do with anything?
And also, like, before that we get to the coordinator too, it's like, why would a mom who just was basically given Mom of the Year award by these people because her kid got into, this med school, why would she kill herself? Like, that's the other thing. This is a perfect community with perfect people and perfect children and perfect scores and perfect everything. And she's the epitome of the perfection, but she kills herself. So now that's why it's such a, like, mind blown moment, because you're like, wait, what happened? Why did it happen?
Exactly.
But yes, then they're still chasing that portfolio even kind of after she dies, and they have that appointment with the coordinator.
Unbelievable. Like, the audacity on these people, like, it just gets worse. Like, they have more and more moments where you're like, they're shameless. They have no shame whatsoever, because they still, especially Pixie Cut, only cares about Yesol getting into SNU med school.
Yep. And it's interesting because it's like such a tight-knit community. They see each other every single day. They have their little book club and whatever going on. And like, so it's not like they're cold and distant neighbors. They're like all up on each other's like business, their kids or friends, etc. And they know each other's business. So they kind of do mourn her when she dies. And then they're kind of like, okay, well, but anyways, back to getting my kid into school, into med school or whatever school. Like, they really do just pivot to that. They're like, okay, well, anyway.
Yeah, their priorities are so out of whack. From then on, I think we should just talk about like the families as units and what the hell happens to each one of them. Not necessarily going episode by episode, because we'd just be here for 4 hours. But I think, I don't know, do you want to work backwards and talk about like maybe the smallest family, maybe Jinhee's family? So Sideswept.
Oh gosh, I love her. She's such a like trophy wife in like the best way.
She is a trophy wife.
And her husband's a dodo bird. Like, he is a surgeon, but he's also like not the sharpest of the surgical tools.
You're totally right. Like, he's such a freaking dodo.
It's so funny because when this first aired, the big news, because I watched it as it aired, by the way, and there was a big talk of the town was this now defunct K-pop girl group, AOA. One of the girls in AOA was going to make a cameo appearance, and so she does, and he's like, Bingo, Bango, like that was their hit song or whatever, and he's like so excited, his character's so excited for her, and it just was so perfect. It was so ridiculous, but sets the scene and the tone of that family so well, because they're definitely like the most unserious ones of this crew.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like the most demonstrative of anyone, because they kind of don't care about anything as much as they do. It's not that serious for them, but they look around and they're like, oh, I need to also be serious about this. Like, I should also like want this.
Yeah. Like, they're followers. They're not leaders. They're reading the room, and they're constantly adjusting themselves to kind of meet what everybody else is demanding. And if everybody else is concerned about their kids getting into an Ivy, essentially, then they're going to pressure their kid as well to get in. And they're taking their cues from everybody else in Sky Castle rather than making up their own minds. And I think the husband at one point says to the wife, you're perfect except for one thing. You're so wishy-washy. And she is. She's absolutely switching sides like all the time between Plant Lady and Pixie Cut, essentially.
She's such a suck up to the Pixie Cut for the longest time. God. Just because she thinks like that'll get her whatever she needs to get in order for everyone else to think she's like cool.
Yeah, because the Pixie Cut her kid is older, like is going through the process now, and her child, Suwon, is like in middle school, so she doesn't have as much pressure as the other mothers who have their kids on the cusp of just about to enter high school and go through this process and need to keep their grades up. So she wants to basically benefit from their experience and get all this intel from the mom, the Pixie Cut mom. And that's why she's sucking up to her, because she's like, well, she'll pass along all of this stuff. She'll give me the coordinator's name, and she'll put in a good word for me, and yada, 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 so on and so forth. But it gets totally, it's so annoying, but also so entertaining to watch because of the personality on this Jinhee character. Like this
Nemari. She's always like, that's what I'm saying.
Right, like she's not so elegant. Like she's not so refined like the other mothers. She is very kind of crude and very open. She's very extroverted. She's boisterous. And
she doesn't have like quiet dignity.
Yes,
like some of them
exactly. Which makes her so much fun to watch. I mean, she gets syrup poured all over her. She gets her hair pulled. She's in like fisticuffs at one point. Like she's like honestly like so much fun. She has this buffoon of a husband. She has this idiot for a son who like does not want to study, does not like to study, and is actually, he's not that smart, like, unfortunately. So she's like trying to instill all of the same values and work ethic into her son when it's just not sticking. This all comes to a head with her family when the kid like kind of just runs away. Like he tries to run away at one point.
Well, I think that was brilliant on the part of the writers because they could have made this whole family just be the goofy ass family on the block. But then they had like an actual real problem, which is the fact that the pressure was acutely felt by their kid.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't even want to be, I'd rather be, because she's very into porcelain and into her little porcelain collection.
That was hysterical too, that she had like this one
stuff, yeah.
like hobby that she had was collecting porcelain plates.
Yes. Yep. And he wrote that little school poem that's like, I'd rather be my mom's coffee cup because she loves that better, or teacup that she loves it better than me, or whatever. It's like so dumb, like
but it's
some
so
dumb
stupid,
thing a kid would say.
It's so sad.
It's so true. It's sad because it was his true feelings. He genuinely felt like kind of like, you guys don't value me.
Yeah.
And he was the best of the kids at expressing it. She was the best of the moms, I would say, at like receiving that information after some time, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the dad was just wanting like peace and harmony in his house. He was like, okay, go to school or don't go to school. He's just like, but don't upset your mom, or like,
yeah.
He's like, do whatever, but sort yourselves out. But they were kind of the most like in a way affectionate with each other because they seemed into each other, and then they were into their kid, and nobody else was really as much, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree that this mom, she would have been my favorite if it wasn't for Bob Cut, because she felt conflicted. I think those moments where they had her struggling with what to do, how do you reconcile these two halves of like, I want you to do well, I want to pressure you, I want to push you to succeed and excel at academics, but I don't want to torture you. Like I don't want to make you suffer through all of these years of schooling and going to the academies and going to bed past midnight and staying up late and constantly being on your ass. That is not a way to live. And she understood that. And so I respected her she loved her son. Like I believed her when she wanted her son to do well academically, but she also deeply loved her son and like was so affectionate with him and would like lay in the bed with him and like hug him and cuddle with him and stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, like that is so cute. None of the other moms did that.
And like he's an only child, so this could be why, and she's
True.
a loudmouth, but there's also this thing of like, he knew his mom. They know each other. They see each other. They know each other. Because he's like, you didn't do well in school. Why are you on my ass? So like, like they have, like he knows that about his mom. And, even though his dad's a surgeon and, so did, somewhat well. But he's like, why are you being like this when you did? And she kind of takes to heart. She's like, yeah, I wasn't that good in school. I mean, you could see her like grappling with that with like,
her inadequacies.
I'm making my kid do. Yeah. And I'm trying to force my kid to do stuff I couldn't even do or didn't do,
So I really liked her. I thought she was fun. And I just loved seeing her relationship with her son and how after that moment where she almost loses him, like he almost does get away and run away, she rethinks her tact.
I love her hair.
And her hair is fabulous. Like, honestly, her hair is a character in and of itself. Yeah. It's beautiful. She can do no wrong. She is the best dressed of all
best
of the
clothes. Yeah, the like spangle jacket that she's wearing on like a cold November morning in her neighborhood for no reason.
Yeah, she's fabulous. Yeah. A+, no
she's
notes. I love that family, and I love their dynamic. I love how they end up. A++. So we're moving on to Sung-hae's family, which is our Bob Cut family.
Okay, that's why I mixed two in my notes.
Pyramid Dad. So it's Bob Cut and Pyramid Dad. They're the parents of 3 children. And this was a whole ass mess. Like, we could be an hour just on them. But
They should get a spinoff.
They
quite
should.
frankly.
They should have gotten.
Well, they kind of did because they're on. What's that show they're on right now? The two husband and the wife are on a K-drama right now.
Yes,
Normal Family or
something
family.
like that. And I heard it wasn't that good, but
yeah.
Okay,
well,
sorry.
Okay. This isn't their spinoff, I guess.
But yeah. But anyway, they got reunited in a 2024 show as husband and wife again. But it's because they were here as husband and wife very successfully in Sky Castle.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a really juicy storyline because, you come to find out that she kind of signed up for this marriage sight unseen because she didn't ask him important questions about his values and what he wanted out of his children, what were his goals in life, yada, 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 because she was so desperate to get away from her own patriarchal family, her own patriarchal father. And so she escaped right into another patriarchal, severely patriarchal man.
Okay, I want to say something real quick about this marriage. One is that, and I don't know, they didn't say this in the show, but through the 1990s, arranged marriage in Korea where your parents get together with another set of parents and like, yeah, our kids are going to get married and it'll be perfect. That was a thing. I don't know if that's the case with them, but the other thing I wanted to mention, so I'm saying it could be, the other thing I want to mention is that Pyramid Dad chose her or was willing to marry her because, again, I don't know if they were arranged by their parents.
I don't think they were because he came from a poor upbringing.
True.
And
but
he was not of the same. He was not of the same status that she was.
You're right.
He kind of worked up to where he could marry her because he basically excelled academically and worked his way up. Went through law school, and did it the old-fashioned, like very very American of him actually to do it this way.
Pulled himself by his bootstraps.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, also American way is the Aunt Becky method, so don't forget that part either. But anyway, that is also American. But no, he picked her because her dad was like a congressman. Dad. Yeah, congressman or senator or something. So it was like advantageous to him, and that kind of is his whole MO. Pyramid Dad, like everything has to be like something about him, like reflect well on him at the end of the day.
Yeah,
whatever it is, whatever his kids do, whatever his wife does, if it doesn't come back to like reflect him as in a positive manner, he kind of isn't here for it.
Yeah, and I thought it bit him in the ass, and it was wonderful. I love to see it. So the mom, again, we kind of covered her a little bit in the non-spoiler section, but she was a wonderful, astute mother because she understood, saw that her children were suffering under the thumb of their father and how he was torturing them. Like he would literally have I think it was a torture chamber. Their study room that was within the house was like this soundproof room, no doors, no windows.
Just jail cell vibes.
Jail cell vibes, very dark. He would make them compete against each other. It was an older daughter and twins. They're
twin boys.
Boys, but fraternal twins, so they look nothing alike. And he would make the twins compete against each other all the time and trying to foster this unhealthy level of competition between the brothers, like their brothers. It kind of made no sense, but also I could understand why he was trying to, almost like iron sharpens iron, he was trying to get them to improve each other.
It's like a dogfight kind of guy.
Exactly.
That's not good.
He was like a fight to the death kind of guy. It was very like gladiator style of teaching and tutoring. He would have a metronome.
He tutored them. They didn't go to Hagwon.
No, they didn't go to Hagwon. He did it himself, like a crazy person.
Oh, the metronome. Ugh.
The fucking metronome, bro. And anyway, long story short, he was in the wrong 100% of the time in the show. Like there was never a point where I was like, you know what? He's got a point. Never. Like he was always wrong.
No. And I will say this actor did a good job of conveying this character's insecurities being like probably the leading factor to why he was the way he was.
Yeah.
Because he came, like you said, from kind of humble origins, now living in this Tony neighborhood with all these fancy people. And he wasn't even the fanciest of the fancy people because he wasn't a surgeon. He was just in quotes, a law professor. And that was like the lower of the rankings of things to be when you're living as Sky Castle resident. And he kind of made up for it or overcompensated for it by being like, you know what, I'll do you all a favor. I will hold these book clubs and I will enlighten your children on the humanities. So you can teach them about math, science, medicine.
Yeah.
I'll handle like, critical thinking and the great literature.
He was thinking he could be a bastion of liberal arts.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't even get it. Like, he didn't even get the liberal art, like the book club. You want to talk about the book clubs? So that was painful as shit. That was in the early episodes where they were taking the kids to these book clubs, and the parents also were going to this book club in Sky Castle. It was only for the Sky Castle residents.
Well, it was in their little like rec center /
They had a clubhouse.
community.
Yeah, they had a clubhouse.
I love that they had that, and I was obsessed with that. Like the sets they used on
it was awesome.
the show, and that was one place I want to hang out in the clubhouse.
Me too, because that's a nice ass clubhouse. I had like a library in it. It was great. It was like 10 stories high. Anyway,
it had bedrooms in it.
It had bedrooms and it had like a whole ass. Anyway, he was picking extremely difficult books to read.
Yeah.
Dense books to read, novels that nobody could understand or digest, and he was doing it on purpose to beef up their reading list.
But also, I think to make himself seem like good or like smart, because again, he's so like weirdly insecure. And I think he wanted to give these books where he knew like no one, and they were mostly books that were originally written in not Korean, right? Usually in English or some other language. And then Yeso gives her whole little like book report, starts it in English, and then it's like, never mind, I'll switch to English.
She does. She starts it in fluent English, and everyone's like, I what? The look on everyone's faces. But yeah, he's just this egotistical, proud, selfish, pretentious,
but small man. Like, his ego is big, but his self-worth is small.
Yes. And so he was doing too much. Like, he was literally just doing too much. He needed to do nothing at all. Like, he would just help by doing nothing. And the book club, I mean, you see a lot of like how each character approaches academia, like other personalities in the group.
The beauty of the book club is the parents participate too. It's not just for the kids.
Exactly.
So you have Little Miss Hair, the beautiful side hair, reading "Thus Spoke Zarathustra" by Nietzsche, and it's like she's like, "What the fuck is this?"
And honestly, as like a former English major, this is hysterical to me. Like this level of like, oh my god, it's just so annoying. Like to see these people, to see this
so
man.
Pretentious.
So it's so pretentious. Like, oh, it's on another level.
We all knew that guy.
We all know this guy. Like, you've seen this guy. Like, you know a person like this. So anyway, he is complimenting Yeso for her take on one of the books. I can't even remember what book it was.
I think it was the selfishness gene or whatever it's called.
It was the selfishness one. And she was like, I learned that it was good to be selfish, good to place myself first and to...
Yeah, your own self-interest.
Yeah, and he was like, yes, that's exactly what I think. Sorry, I'm doing like a little impression of him too, like with the arms.
Yeah.
It's getting Mina. So... it's embarrassing. Like, he's embarrassing. And Yeso is also embarrassing because you can see how conceited cringy she is. Oh my god. Like,
she has that conceit, that special conceit that only a 16, 17-year-old girl can have.
Honestly.
It's so amazing.
Yes.
Amazing.
Like,
she
you're
did
like
a great job.
You
hate her still.
You hate
from
her. Like,
Snowdrop.
you're like, oh my god, get her a paper bag. She needs to hide her face. It's that bad. Like, you're like, oh my god. But he's eating it up. And his kids, the twins, hate him. They hate the book club. They don't want anything to do with him. And one of his kids had like a beautiful take on one of the books about how, I can't even remember what the take was, honestly, but it doesn't matter. The fact that like he had a very nuanced take and it was a very personalized thing and how he felt about studying, basically being forced to study. And the dad was like, your opinion's wrong. Like, he basically, it was a dictatorship and it was not a book discussion at all. The book club eventually gets disbanded. It comes to naught because of his tyranny. And Plant Mom comes in to save the day. And she's like, what is this book club? Actually, you guys are unhinged. And she puts a stop to it. In the course of the show, it's a drop in the ocean. Like, the book club is not even a thing, really.
But it shows, it's so good in the early episodes because it shows you how everyone kind of operates. And also in this show full of overbearing women and mothers, he's the overbearing dad.
Exactly.
He is just oppressive about all this stuff. He's just as obsessed as the ladies are. He's the one who forces the Bob lady to go to the bank, and he somehow gets her a bank card to show up at the same meeting and bid for the coordinator the same way Yeso's mom bids for her. And it's because of his analness about it. He's so uptight.
Yeah. And I think that the moment that you find out his daughter never went to Harvard and she was doing this like huge fraud and con, Harvard was suing her, she like fled the States, I was like, ooh.
Her American aunt just being like freaking out in Korean and then being like, oh my God.
Yeah. The terrible English
exclamations in the middle of her like freak out. Makes sense though. No, I mean, it was such a payoff. Like this family story has such payoff because he's so obnoxious, and then they basically like
they pull the rug
call
out
him out. Yeah, they do everything so that he is super humbled, and that is the fun part about them. Yeah, but it takes a while to get there.
It does take a while to get
long,
there.
painful ride.
Yeah, I do like the moment when the daughter comes back home after he finally. She texts him that she lied. She never got into Harvard. It's been this whole elaborate lie. She's been just staying at Harvard dorms without paying. It's been this entire...
And the stuff she tells her parents is like she's, volunteering with Malia Obama, who at the time was a Harvard student. And she's like going to intern at the White House or whatever the hell she's telling her dad, which is all perfect stuff. She knew how to feed her dad these lines that he would, eat up with a spoon. And that's kind of where some of his ego did come from, because this was the one area where they did feel confident, and they were like the second family in a way. Like if Young Jae's mom and dad were the first most like prestigious because of their son's success, then they were like the second most, because she was just at Harvard, not necessarily at like a med school, but still
she went to an Ivy in the States.
Yeah, still pretty damn good. So yeah, and then to have all that be fake and false, and it was crazy. And the way her mom comes to find out about it, and how they like portrayed it in the show, where she's having these secret closet conversations with her sister in the literal closet, being like, what are you saying right now? Like, what are you telling me? And her sister's like, I'm saying I now owe Harvard University $60,000 I don't have. So
because Harvard's suing my ass for her shit.
Yeah, what is wrong with your daughter? Yeah.
The conversation that the daughter has, where she's basically saying, you didn't love me unless I was doing well in school. You didn't see me unless I was a Harvard student. And why can't I just be your daughter? And, you're so small. She kind of like starts calling him on his shit and saying that she's not a failure. The way that she was raised was wrong. And that he, the dad, is a failure because none of the family respects him.
Yeah, she says you're a failure if your family doesn't respect you or something like that. I don't know where she got that from. If that was a quote, do you remember where that came from, or if that's just something she said?
No, I think that's just something she said.
Oh, okay, so she's like, you're the failure, not me. Yeah, because no one here respects you.
Yeah, and then he starts turning to the twins, turns to his wife. He's like, "Do you respect me?" And they're like, "No." It's fantastic. But it's absolutely true, and it's heartbreaking in the moment when she's like, he slapped her and she's on the floor, Well,
he's pretty violent.
He's violent. Like,
he
he's
disciplines
abusive.
the twins all the time. The twins are trying to like save their Nuna and all this stuff, and their mom all the time. We don't really see him do much with the wife, like as far as physical violence is concerned. But it's the underpinnings of all that is there, like underlying.
Yeah, he's certainly abusive. And at one point, at the end of the show, she threatens divorce. which I think she should have done 20 years ago, but it's okay.
I will say I pretty sure that still to this day, like, it's obviously not uncommon, I don't think anymore, but in Korea there was this and we had this too in the US, like when I, again, as an elder millennial child in the 80s, when my parents would ask me, like, is your new friend from school, are their parents divorced? I don't know why that was a question, but they would check. They were like, are they divorced? Because that's a little shady. Yeah, I don't know. It was just some weird thing of like, it's not considered good, quote unquote. I don't know why in a societal level to be divorced. And in Korea, I think it may still be the case to some extent, maybe more so than here. And I'm just venturing guess here, so don't take my word for it. But they're definitely, and a family like that, it would probably be also like considered a flaw. And we were trying to maintain this level of perfection or this appearance of perfection, that you get a divorce, because that's a failure of a marriage, and any failure is an L, basically. So
yeah, so, certainly for this very small pyramid man who was obsessed with being at the top of the pyramid.
Yes.
She threatens divorce, though, at the end of the show.
She gives him like an ultimatum of like, if you don't want me to divorce you, you're going to have to like basically change how you behave and interact with the kids. And you're going to start respecting them. You're going to let them do a little bit of what they want to do. What killed me though was how Seri, their daughter, went from a fake Harvard student to party promoter, and the mom like going to bat for the party promoter. And like, it is like, it's a valid job, but it was just funny how, because you would think like, she'll be like, I'll go to nursing school or something, kind of placate her, you know, that whole like need for their parents to like maintain these appearances or prestige or whatever, perceived prestige. Yeah. But she's like, no, I'm going to be a nightclub promoter. Yeah.
She was like, I'm not going to college at all. Who needs college?
Yeah. That was so funny to me. I just found that so hilarious. And then he's like, party promoter. And he was like just sputtering with like rage. He's like, what are you talking about? Like, no daughter of mine.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah. In my translation, it said like marketing director. And I was like, okay. All right, so I think that's enough of that family. I really enjoyed seeing their story and how the mom took matters into her own hands, and he like fell from the apple tree. Like, it was a whole reckoning for him, truly. I mean, he wanted her labor. Like, he could not exist without her. Like, he couldn't feed himself. He couldn't take care of himself. He was a mess without her. She made his life work.
All the husbands really were like, get me my suit, get me my golf clubs, get me my whatever. And the wives go scurrying to get them, even though they're like, they have like a, for lack of a better word, servant, domestic.
It's a servant. I thought it was a servant as well. I'm like, oh, it's a maid that has weekends off.
No, she's a servant.
It's a servant.
Yeah. But despite that, it's still on the wife, right, to do this, that, and the other. So.
Mm-hmm. We're going to move on to, I don't know, do you want to move on to?
I think we should save Yeso's family for last.
Okay. All right. So let's do Suim, which is the mother, the plant lady. Yes. And she's married to Dr. Hwang.
Yes. She's also a children's book author.
Yes. The children's book author mom / plant lady. And their son is Uju.
Uju, yeah.
Damn. Whoa. So this poor lady, I mean, this whole family, they put them through the ringer. They try to destroy this family. I think the fun part about them coming into the neighborhood, like basically rising from the ashes of Youngjae's family, the mom who committed suicide.
They move into that house.
They move into that house. They move into that original house where like Youngjae, the SNU kid, he like goes missing, and
his dad quits
the job at the hospital. The mom's committed suicide. The whole family was toe up from the flow up. And so they move into that house. They're like free thinkers. They are, you know, very hands off when it comes to Uju's education. He just studies on his own. He doesn't have any private tutors. He doesn't go to the hagwon. She's a stay-at-home mom, but she also, the husband helps out at home. He's seen folding towels and clothes.
And he's a surgeon or whatever too, or not a surgeon.
And he's a surgeon as well, a
but a different kind, right? Yeah.
He's a neurosurgeon. Even though he's a highly educated professional, he's doing domestic duties along with her at home. He's washing dishes. He's helping set up the table. It's a wonderful sort of utopia-like existence that none of the other families see, of almost closer division of household labor between the husband and wife. They have a wonderful angelic child who is smart and is eager to learn, eager to study, doesn't require coaxing or beating him over the head with a textbook to try and get him to study. And he does extremely well in school. He was like number 1 to enter high school, ranked the same as Yeso upon entering this Shina high school. This poor lady has the heart of a journalist because she starts digging deep into the mess of the family that was living in the house before them.
She catches Yebin, Yeso's younger sister, in her petty thievery at the 7-Eleven or whatever type of convenience store, and tries to intervene, tries to help her, tries to be a parental guidance figure, someone adult she can trust at least. She is also, I need to shout it out because right now I have a Korean adoption season of my podcast, but she's an adoptive mother to who I keep calling, his name's Uji, but I keep calling him Channy because he's Channy from SF9.
Yes, he is.
So he's Channy's adoptive mother because Channy's biological mother passed away, got ill and passed away, and that's his trauma that he has. And probably partially why they're so easy on him in a way. But also he's a good
so
kid.
it's a stepmother, which is rare to have, like, again, such a wonderful relationship. Like, he really treats her as a mother. She really treats him as her own son. They truly love each other. No one could guess that she was the stepmom until it was, brought up as gossip in the Sky Castle community. This is highly unusual. Like, to see this family be so successful was an outlier because, she didn't come from money. The doctor husband also didn't come from money. He's an orphan.
She's the daughter of an orphanage.
She's the daughter of like an orphanage director. And she says that growing up, she didn't even realize that she had parents because of the way she was treated which I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you didn't know she had parents. So
she's just kind of one of the orphanage kids.
She thought she was one of the orphanage kids. She thought she was an orphan growing up because her parents, I guess, like, did not treat her as a child of theirs at all. So
not any more special than
any of the other orphanage kids, I guess.
Yeah.
All of these things taken together, they are like a gorilla in the desert. They are like totally out of place. I thought that them being disruptors in this little community was brilliant.
By being
writing.
normal. They're being just normal.
Yeah. And them being just normal and wonderfully mundane in this community was great. I always like those stories of like the poor girl and the rich guy. This is like the poor family suddenly elevated to this different status in this different community. And all of a sudden, their values do not align with everybody else's values.
Well, it's interesting, and we're going to talk about this family later, but the way she is from the pretty much similar background to Yeso's mom's family, but they're being from and same with even like the pyramid dad, they're from these like more humble beginnings compared to everybody else in Sky Castle. But the dad, this pyramid dad, Yeso's mom, approach it with like this ferociousness, like we have to be. It's an imperative that everybody gets pulled as high as they can up the pyramid ladder to the very top.
Yeah.
So if that means like cheating or whatever, like almost to that point they actually don't condone cheating, but they're almost to that point of like, okay, get me the best coordinator. If I have to open a bank account, if I have to spend my mother-in-law's money, if I have to do whatever I have to do, I will do it. And then you have the plant mom and dad who are like, we're just normal. We're not doing all that. But then at some point, someone kind of points out to her like, hey, you're at Sky Castle too. Like, you're not above all of us. You think you're so righteous with your humility and your like common man story, but like actually you also live here with the elite. So don't pat yourself on the back too hard.
Exactly. So you're in this like zoo with the rest of us. So I don't understand why you're like thinking that you're out in the wild and you're above us. In some ways, I understood their animosity toward her because at first when they meet her and they're wondering how her son does so well in school, and she's like, yeah, he just does well. Like, he just studies. It's nothing. It's not a big deal. And they realize that she looks down on people who send their kids to the Hagwon, who are super concerned with the grades, and who have this their mentality, the Sky Castle mentality.
Right.
They immediately shun her. And I was like, you know what? If I was there, I would shun her too. Because that was bullshit. Like, how can she look down on them? Like, because if I feel like if I had the means, I would do the same thing. Not to their level, obviously.
I think like, it's also like
within my like US Western centric way, I would get tutors for my kids if they were struggling in math. I would like, hire people if they needed it, and not just struggle, just hit your head against the wall because, you're bad at, you suck at math. Okay, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, because she's privileged in a different way.
Yes.
She is still the wife of a surgeon, which is what the rest of them are too. So
yeah.
It's not like she is just like little Bo Peep over here or somebody. And then also her son is just naturally gifted, naturally academically inclined.
Exactly.
He doesn't need, he's number 1 and number 2 neck and neck with Hena and Yeso,
right,
without having to resort to like Hagwon or coordinators or whatever. He's extremely charming and affable. He's like he could be student council president. He'd be a shoo-in, as the twins tell him, and he's like, I don't even care. And then he's like, actually no, I do, because his like crush is gonna run. So he's like very like,
he's perfect.
Just one of those people. Yeah,
like you have a perfect son, and like
this guy's gonna
you're
walk
looking
through
down
life.
at us because we don't have a perfect son. Like it was annoying. Like she was immediately annoying in that respect.
Yeah.
And I wondered if you felt the same or if you felt some type of way.
I
about
thought a
that.
couple things that I think redeemed her in a way for me, because she was annoying. A lot of these things were annoying about her, in the fact that she's kind of self-righteous and kind of pretentious in a different way. And she thought she's such a great mom, which she was, but they thought they were great moms by being like this. It was just different perspectives in a way. Like even if like they're like, yeah, my kid's gonna suffer because I'm gonna be a little tyrant for like however long, but then they're gonna go to wherever, and that's gonna be
it'll all be
that
worth it. In their mind, it was all worth it.
In their mind, which I don't agree with, because then you have to suffer through for however many years of med school, and then then you're a surgeon for the rest of your life, and that's not an easy life. So, but whatever, that was their outlook, and hers was like this other one. But the things that redeemed it was like they kind of show us Channy's family, the Plant family, after they've overcome and healed a lot of their familial wounds, where like Channy says, there's a time when I didn't like my mom and I was missing my real mom, and like there was struggle. Channy used to act out as a younger person, and then he like calls her mom, and she's like, oh my god, my son, and like they have this super different dynamic. So we meet them here at this place where they're at now. So they've overcome their own obstacles and hurdles. So I was like, okay, I don't like I'm not so annoyed with her now, because she definitely did struggle and didn't just have this like magically gifted perfect son, although she herself is like, I do feel like this was just a gift from God that I got for like no reason. This is a perfect son. But they do have these like issues. And then the dad is also like, I don't know, he's principled and things like that, but he's not above throwing a punch. They're everything here is like, so like I'm dignified and I'm this, and I'm not gonna torture my kids and blah blah blah. But then like he can be petty too a little bit, and they have like the kind of their own little like hang-ups that's different. So, and she's nosy as hell. Like, why is she all up in their business?
She is all up in their business. Like, for many of their little things, I was like, okay, she should just
like get away from Yebby.
Get in the car and drive away. I don't understand. Like, that's not her child.
Yeah, get away from Young Jae's dad. Get away from Young Jae. Stop stalking the coordinator. Get away from Yebin. Like it's all like it gets to like the point such as you're like, that's weird.
Like she's doing too much, and she was self-serving in her own way, because she wanted
100%.
to write a book about all the happenings in Sky Castle, and she was doing this maybe to make money, to make a name for herself as an author. She hadn't written a book in like over a decade, and so all of these things taken together, I'm like, she's not this perfect angel who's like doing this out of the goodness of her heart either. There's a lot of things that play here that, she's doing this out of pride, out of stubbornness. She has her own complexes and trauma.
Even from this fact that she married an orphan, like there's nothing wrong with that, but it was interesting that she married a man at that point, because that was his
yes, she didn't marry
marriage.
A kid. She did not marry a child.
Kid. But that guy was in her parents' orphanage, or her whoever ran it orphanage. And then she was like also like trying to convey herself as like, I'm this former educator, children's book author who writes about these metaphorical stories about childhood trauma or some kind of trauma, because her books were kind of harrowing. And then she was like, my husband is someone who was orphaned and also a widower, and my son, I'm not his
Mother Teresa, like, you know
what
I'm saying? Like, okay, yeah.
And then she's like, I'm going to be in touch. I'm going to like hold Yebin's hand and find out what's really wrong with her because no one's bothering to check with her. And she had a point, but she didn't have to be the one to make that point. You know, it was just very self-serving. Like she's like, I will be the one. And then when she went to write the book, people were like seeing this book as like potentially tawdry, and tacky. But she's like, no, it's going to be a search for justice. I was like, okay.
I could understand. Sure. I could understand both viewpoints. Absolutely. That she wanted to change society, and everyone was like, first of all, this is hot goss, and number two, this is not going to change nothing. And I was like, yes and yes to like what everyone is saying, but also this is a witch hunt, so I understand why she feels threatened and cornered, and why she would she feels she's stubborn, and so she's going to do it anyway. So her writing the book, I mean, she was very complex. Every character was complex, but she was very particularly complex because you could easily write her off as just being a good character. But I think she has a hero complex.
The writing here is amazing. And because of that student who committed suicide, unfortunately, or not committed suicide, whatever, got hit by, whatever, both happened, I guess. She was trying to commit suicide and got hit by a truck. And
she had her own trauma
on the scene. Yeah. And so she's trying to constantly save kids. It's like her like whole thing. And so there was like a lot definitely going on with her, like a lot. But it was interesting that she was besties with the Bob girlie. Like they were tight.
Yeah, they were tight. Yeah, for sure. So, did we want to talk about Chani like at all, or Wooju? Because he goes through like an epiphany at the end of the show after he gets imprisoned.
Wooju's
like I realized that like school is not anything. Yeah, he's like just done.
Yeah. Oh my God, he does time, and it's not funny, but it's like he's just sent to juvenile detention and like has a like hard think.
We're kind of glancing over like the makjang of it because we're saving it for the last family. But like he does time a little bit for a few months.
Yeah, he does a little bit of time. Actually, Channy in his other roles too. So he's like always like wrongly accused, stuck in jail, innocent kid. Yeah. So anyway, but what was interesting, he in jail was even more of an angel than him not in jail, because he was like telling the other ajumas like, oh, you didn't have to worry about me, or like, hey, so like chin up. And I was like, what is going on? Like, yes, I almost ruined you.
Kind.
Like,
very kind to everyone who was ready to put him in jail for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And make him take the blame for this murder. Anyway, that's that family. Anybody else that you want to talk about before we get to
Hannah?
Oh, Hannah.
Should we wait? Should we do that after or now?
Well, we can do her with her family.
Okay. Oh gosh.
All right. So this is the final family, and I guess we'll just sit on this family for a few minutes here. So Sojin is the mom, Pixie Cut mom. This is the main inciting family of the whole Sky Castle show. Yeah, she loses her marbles, basically. I mean, what do you have to say for this lady?
Okay, so I wish there was way more to her backstory. Maybe there was originally, and they were like, these episodes are getting longer, and we don't have time, and there's so many people. But she is the daughter originally of a blood and tripe seller, butcher guy, and that's, I guess, extremely low class in Korean society. I don't really know much about it. Dirty job. And she gets to know as a child Lee So-im, which is Plant Lady, because they are childhood schoolmates. And something went down in their childhood where their friendship gets ruined because a rumor gets spread around school, or maybe the rumor is the fact that she is the daughter of, I don't know what happened, daughter of a butcher. But something happens and she ends up hating her, but the Plant Lady denies to her adulthood years of like, no, I wasn't the one who spread the rumor about you because I was your friend.
Yeah, she didn't tell the truth about where she lived and what her father did as
and then somehow she ends up like, even though he has this other girlfriend for a while and his station in life is way above hers, I don't know if it was like a surprise pregnancy, and the surprise pregnancy was Yeso, but somehow the Pixie Cut lady ends up marrying the surgeon guy, and her mother-in-law hates her guts. Her guts. And so she's like, in repentance or something, you need to make sure this daughter of yours,
self-flagellation.
yes, becomes third generation of doctors in our family that goes to Seoul National University Medical School specifically. So you need to make that happen, and then I might forgive you, maybe. So that's like the big grudge against her that the mother-in-law has. And I just wish we had way more information on like the friendship, her childhood. Why was her dad was an alcohol? We find out her dad was an alcoholic, and that abusive. And she had lied and said, "Oh, my parents live in Australia," and blah blah blah, whatever, and like all these lies. And she has a fake name, like that's not even her real name. The name she has is one that's like, I guess maybe easily recognizable as like lower status, lower class, or poor, or rural, or I didn't know what it was. They were all laughing at her real name once they find out what it is, and so it must be something recognizable in Korean of like, oh, this is like people from maybe this kind of rural area. I don't know. I was just guessing. I don't know.
Tacky.
But yeah, like I was like, would she be named like, you know, if you saw someone named like Billy Sue or something, like I don't know, in the US you'd be like, oh, that's someone from the sticks,
right,
okay,
right.
You know. So, or like whatever, but yeah, so she has this giant chip on her shoulder of like, she has been down this path of like, or maybe not path, but she was born into circumstances that was like kind of the lowest of the low, and she will never ever get down to that level again. So she's going to do anything almost to get Yeso and her kids and to stay in this station of life where she has achieved through marriage and whatever else. And I don't know how she got there. Did they say, even though I've watched this like 4 times, did they really say how?
No, they never say how she meets her husband, how she bagged the husband, or how she got rid of the first love of her husband.
I really think she just was the first one to be like, surprise, I'm having your kid.
Yeah, I think she
was
just
like,
beat her to the punch.
Yeah.
I think she was just like, yeah, I'm pregnant. And then you have to take responsibility.
And maybe she saw it as like a ticket in, whereas like the other person, his other girlfriend, either didn't tell him in time or like kept it from him intentionally or something to save him. Whereas, and this is what I was thinking, like the other girlfriend that he had right before her didn't tell him on purpose. Maybe because she was like, he's the second generation doctor. I'm going to interfere in his life. Let me just keep me in our,
I mean, it was a matter of months.
Child. Right.
Like,
right.
Whereas 2-3 months between their pregnancies when
Exactly.
the ladies got pregnant with his children, because
and maybe
Yeso and Hena are in the same year.
Right. And so then, but whereas Yeso's mom, I think, I'm just guessing because we don't get this in backstory, saw this as like her way in. I'm going to worm my way into this status. And maybe Henna's mom was like, let me not bother him in his status and like disrupt his whole life and blah, blah, blah.
Right. I just want to pause here and say, like, if this drama was made 20 years ago, the drama would not be about Sojin, like the pixie cut mom. The protagonist or the mom would be the dying angelic mom who like left to save the goatee dad from the embarrassment of having a child out of wedlock and not being accepted into this rich family. And like, that would be the K-drama. That would be the story.
I agree.
I think it's funny that they centered it on this lady who's like a villain.
But she is out of necessity. Like, that's kind of why I loved her too. I mean, I definitely loved her too. I didn't pick her as my top fave mom, but she's kind of incredible because she really overcomes all this stuff, and she's very conniving, and she's very like, you know, manipulative or whatever. She'll do whatever because she has to. It's like survival skills go into effect, and she does not care. Like, she'll humiliate herself in front of her mother-in-law as many times as needed, but at least she gets to keep her station in life. She has to secure her children's station in life. She secures the legitimacy of her children and herself, her new fake identity, etc. And she, you know, just does all the self-protecting things. But it's like there was a reason for all that. It wasn't just superficial, like the way pyramid dads felt, very like self-serving in a dumb
Pyramid
way.
Dad.
Yeah. So I loved her and her conniving ways.
Yeah. She's cool to watch. I mean, she's compelling to watch because she makes terrible decisions. You question whether she loves her children. You get that she loves her children, but you're like, does she really?
She definitely has a favorite. That was the part that was killing me.
Clearly has a favorite child. Like, Yeso is for sure her favorite child. The fact that she didn't have a son was a blow to her legitimacy as a daughter-in-law in that family because sons are so obviously favored. The mother-in-law clearly wanted a grandson, not a granddaughter. She's automatically trying to make up lost ground for not providing an heir. She is trying to foster her daughter into this third generation doctor that the mother-in-law wanted. So she's like, okay, if you can't have the son who's a doctor, I'll give you the granddaughter who's a doctor. Like, instead of a grandson, a granddaughter who's a doctor, the third generation doctor that you so desperately want. This objective does not leave her body for 20 episodes. I mean,
she's so intense.
She's so intense. Honestly, all of these Sky Castle families are looking for lawyers, Wall Street elite, Ivy League schools. That's the level to which they aspire. A successful child will elevate the mother's status. Mm-hmm. And she's looking for that acceptance from the mother-in-law.
But not only the mother-in-law, because she's lying to her kids, and she's going to keep up that lie for life. She does not care, and she doesn't have any qualms about it, and she's not even like, yeah, she's nothing. It's just like she's very like, this is an imperative.
Which is why I thought she might be like a psychopath, because she so coolly lies to her children about her own identity for so long. Their entire lives she's lying. She has fake parents that she sends them to see in Sydney, Australia.
They visit
like,
someone.
It's fucking unhinged.
Who they are.
Like, yeah, like she hires people. And what kind of a person devotes themselves to the lie?
I think a person like her, she has lived such a difficult life at the lowest status you can be in Korean society, I'm assuming, short of maybe being unhoused or something. I don't know.
But I think it's also in her head.
No, yeah.
Is what I'm trying to get at, is that like she's not well. She's built
she
this
has
up.
this drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's built
the
this
drive
up in
and
her head.
ambition and the like whatever that is. It is true. It's true. Because again, even though the orphanage dad, the guy who was an orphanage and married the plant lady, the pyramid dad, they also had difficult, not so easy lives in their younger years. They're not like that. Like they're all kind of, I mean, not the plant dad, but they're all kind of crazy, but not to her level. Like she's got another different fire. And the way she gets pissed off, the way she grabs the beautiful hair lady by the hair and was like, I will kill you. I don't even care.
No. she's
just
threatening
like, so...
to kill people left and right. Like she's playing a game. She plays a game of chicken with the plant lady where she runs her off the road and threatens to kill her. Like she is aggressive, crazy. Like she's crazy.
But I think that's why it's so amazing. Like the writers making Henna, like her match, her counterpart, they see each other in each other. It's themselves in each other, I should say. So, cause like they can match each other's crazy. Cause Henna too, she has no other fucks left to give. Her mom is dead. Yeah. She's like, she's got nothing. She's got to survive for real. Like she's got to do something.
She's like, I have nothing left to lose.
Yeah, she's nothing to lose. She has no fear. She has no nothing. And when she tries to leave her in the forest, she turns around and gets her because I think she realizes like Henna doesn't even, like on some level, Henna doesn't care. You can leave her in the forest. Mm-hmm. Henna doesn't even care or cry or anything. She's like, and what? So she turns around and gets her because she's like, well, I may as well just go get her because they both are kind of a match for each other in a way because they're both lived the most desperate circumstances I think either of them can imagine like being in, and then they're like here in this like Sky Castle. Henna's like this charity case, got to go to Sky Castle because she's like their whatever, I don't know, like diversity person. She's not wealthy and all that kind of stuff, but then she like points out all these like injustices or unfairness and special treatment and different things like that. Somehow works her way into, and of course the coordinator gets her there, into the house, finds out who her dad is. Like that things just go crazy. Like after a certain point, it's just like your brain is exploding with information that's coming out about this family left and right.
I have in my notes, I have one note. This is from like episodes 3 through 5. Early, because after episode 5 I stopped taking notes. I would have a thesis if I tried to take notes on this show.
Definitely.
Yeah. Definitely. But I have here in all caps, Pixie Cut is a raving psychopath. She's manipulative towards the teacher. By teacher, I mean the coordinator, doing everything she can to get her back, bribing her with gold bars and fancy packed homemade food, handwritten apology notes, until finally she prostrates herself on her knees crying for forgiveness. It looks sincere, her promise that she would be okay if her family turned into a disaster just like the other one, Youngjae's family, that she'll be okay with teachers' methods, But in the hallway, she smirks Riley like a fox, like a crazy person, like a psychopath, because the amount of times that these women were twirling mustaches with each other,
good
especially the coordinator and the pixie cut.
Yeah. Another good match for each other.
They were well matched as well. Those three, like Hannah, which is a student, she's a teenager.
She's 17 years old.
She's like 17 or 18 years old. So Hannah, Pixie Cut, the mom, central mom, and the coordinator, who we haven't even fucking gotten to that bitch yet.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to.
Those three are like the trinity of the show. They are so well matched against each other. And it is like K-drama crack to see them up against each other.
It is amazing.
And again, like this pixie cut lady is diabolical.
Yep.
You know, she gets in the plant lady's face.
The line she kept saying to her, which is from their childhood, and she even also says it, I think, to the hair lady, but she's like, I will rip your lips off your face. Which I'm sure is like maybe a Korean common insult, but it's just like it sounds so much cooler than like I'll kick your ass in English.
She's like,
I will rip your lips off your face.
Yes,
I'm
I'll
like,
rip your lips off
your
face.
Oh my God.
Rip your
mouth.
And
you have no
open.
doubt. Yeah, you have no
like
doubt she'll do it. Yeah. Rip your mouth. Yeah, something. She's going to do something. She's going to rip your mouth open or
I
your
just
lips
think
off your face.
she's in various points, you're like, oh, she's got it together. And then suddenly she's a fucking lunatic.
Yeah. It's got to be stifling to act like live a lie every day, 24/7 to everyone.
Yeah, to have like those crazy eyes and be intimidating, just actively intimidating people who, for all intents and purposes, they're your friend.
Right.
I like the moment when she outs herself with the plant lady.
Oh yeah, that was crazy
in the street.
In the clubhouse. Well, what about in the clubhouse too?
Yeah.
But yeah, in the street.
In this
when
first
everyone
in the
finds
street,
out.
and this is an early episode, when she says her famous, I'll rip your lips off your face or something, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And Plant Lady's like, oh my God, it's you.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh shit, I just gave it away that I'm this girl from her past. Yeah. And we went to school together and we have this little history. I love that moment. Because again, she's just, it's like a rabid animal. Like this lady, the pixie cut lady acts like a rabid animal at times.
That's what I'm saying. Like she's kind of feral because of how she grew up. Like she grew up unparented. She grew up with everyone hating her by virtue of where her station in life was, which she had no control over because she was a baby/child. She believes she's been betrayed by her bestie. She trusts no one. And she kind of isn't like, she's like this, and not to excuse it or anything, but just like she has a reason for why and how she can be so diabolical. And Hannah can kind of identify with it because she kind of has somewhat similar stuff going on. We're like a single mom, very poor, sick mom, knows she's better than everyone, at least academically, and hates it. You know what I mean? So they kind of have these like chips on their shoulder. And it's interesting because even other people who come from, like she, I guess, comes from the worst social background, the pixie cut lady. But yeah, I try to juxtapose her to probably orphanage parents weren't wealthy. So the plant mom is not like that. The orphan dad is not like that. The pyramid dad is not like her. Like nobody is quite like her except for Hannah's like the closest. But she's like another level. Another level.
Oh my God. It's like there's so many moments that we could talk about with Pixie Cut, but
well, we need to go back to the coordinator because we fully glossed over her.
Okay.
And we need to talk about the goatee dad because we also glossed over, like, then
we haven't talked
him.
about like the rest of the families too because they're so important. So what do you want to say about the goatee dad?
I want to say that, it gets very makjang-y, but I did like his acting despite it because it is like crazy to be like, wait, you're telling me the person I sent to another hospital for possible surgery so I could like win favor with my boss or whatever to treat his grandson is my daughter. And no,
that was like the best twist though. Like it was the most makjang-y thing in the whole show.
Yeah.
But I lived it up because he deserved it. Not to say, oh God, this is terrible when you say, but like I'm just
they're
saying,
not real people.
They're not real people. This is a drama. But he fucking deserved what he got. He Hannah did not deserve it. Did not deserve to die.
No.
But the father
Yeah.
deserved that reckoning and that sort of cosmic punishment that he got.
It's weird because the whole time he's kind of more affable compared to his wife. So you kind of don't harbor ill will towards him.
That's what I mean.
But then this takes you out so hard, and then you're like...
He progressively gets more frustrating, especially because you realize even though he looks down on his wife for her background, her upbringing, and he supports her lying to the children and the whole neighborhood about her name and her identity and everything about her. He supports that because he's embarrassed about her. Plus, he is super interested in upward mobility at work. So he's doing everything he can to get in the good graces of that chief, that old 1,000-year-old turtle, as they called him. Like, that was his nickname because they hated him. Yeah. And that whole thing, he was such a hypocrite.
Yeah. Because he did act like kind of holier than thou in many ways. Like, he's like, well, I'm not as bad as that everyone else here. Yeah. Almost like the plant lady. Yeah. But yet he had like terrible, like the workplace politics of that piece of this drama was also interesting if you're into that, because he is doing the most to like manipulate something there and like make the other surgeon, the husband of the beautiful hair lady, his lackey in a way almost. Just like it's assumed that he's gonna be the one up for promotion because he's like, I was number one, top of my class, whatever he was like 20 or 30 years ago.
And they were the writer was building this case against him where Dr. Huang had already investigated him low key for his patient outcomes, because seemingly all his patients have terrible outcomes. They are in chronic pain. They don't end up well, and they have more issues after he does surgery on them. So,
but his economic metrics are on point because he turns those patients out of their beds so fast.
Yeah, he turns them out fast, and he's making a lot of money for the hospital. So whatever he's doing is making patients spend more money at the hospital. So he's giving surgery, he's making them get surgeries when maybe they don't need surgeries, and maybe they can use alternative methods, maybe injections or physical therapy and different other methods that can fix their issues without resorting to surgery, which is the most expensive option. All of these like unethical practices within the hospital, which is run like a business. And unfortunately, like it's like that in the United States as well. Yeah. They're really building this case that he's not a very good doctor.
Or he is, but he's not providing appropriate care. Like maybe he knows what to do, but he doesn't care about that. He cares more about like himself looking good.
Exactly. So then we get to this part of the show where mysteriously Hannah falls from like the fifth floor of the clubhouse during Uju's
with
birthday
Yeso in the bedroom next door. Also weird.
Yeah. We don't know which kid did it or if a child of the Sky Castle crew did it. And she is severely injured. She needs a surgery.
Emergency surgery.
Surgery.
She's internally bleeding, I think.
She's right. She's got like a brain bleed or something. So she needs a surgery from the neurosurgeon, Dr. Huang, the plant lady's husband.
Right.
Because at this point, Goatee Dad has finagled his way into getting a promotion, and he's like the chief of the spine and joint center or something.
Mm-hmm. But he's also head of like operations or something.
Yeah. He's chief of like
something
operations
to do with
or
finances.
Something. Yeah. Instead of the chief of the joint and spine center, which is what the Dr. Huang is, the plant lady's husband.
Yeah.
Anyway, he got a higher position. He like wheeled and dealed, and he's got a higher position, and he changes the order of the surgeries
because Turtle's grandson was in some kind of accident as well at the same time.
The hospital director's grandson, 9-year-old grandson, also came in with almost an identical injury, also needs brain surgery,
but after Henna.
He came in after Henna.
So they prioritized him just because of who he is. And Henna
gets
transported to another hospital, which there's no time for that. And he knows that.
And he knows that. He knows he just doomed Henna. It was very unlikely that she was going to make it to another hospital to receive this life-saving surgery. And he basically kills his own daughter.
But doesn't know at the time that she is his daughter.
Exactly.
Oh, it's so good.
Which
Why
is
don't you
so
like makjangs?
good and dramatic. That's why I said it's so good, because like you're there and the audience knows, and this fucking bitch Pixie Cut knows that's his daughter and doesn't say shit to him.
That entire time. And then Channy crying his little heart out for her. Oh, so heartbreaking, so heart-wrenching. And then getting arrested for it. Okay, we can't go back to Channy right now. Anyways, we already talked about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
he gets
the dad
framed for Hannah's murder later. But yeah, the dad fucking himself over because of his unethical practices.
And mind you, as a viewer, we're already grappling with the fact that Yeso and Hannah are sisters, almost like twins or Irish twins, or whatever. I don't know if that's offensive or not, but I know that that's like a phrase that people use sometimes. But because they're so close in age, I mean, they're from different mothers, so it's a different situation. But they're
half sisters,
enemies. And half sisters,
and they hate each other. They've hated each other the whole show.
She's tight with Yebin, and she's Yebin's sister too, half sister too.
Yeah.
So that's like another crazy component. She is the one person that
right. So here's the order. If for people that are listening and they don't intend on watching Cat Castle, so it's Pixie Cut is married to the goatee. I'm sorry, I just have to make this clear. So Pixie Cut is married to the goatee doctor.
Yeah.
They have 2 daughters. One is Yeso, who's at the center of this whole freaking thing. She's the one
in high school.
And she has a younger sister or a younger daughter.
In middle school
named Yebin. So Yeso and Yebin. And Hannah goes to school with Yeso. And they fucking hate each other.
They're rivals. They're both neck and neck for number one. Hannah is a bit like Channy Uju. I was like, what word is he? Uju. He's also like they don't go to like Hagwon or whatever, and they're both really good. And she like tutors people for cash because she's a very sick mom who's single mom. She doesn't know who her dad is, and she eventually finds out.
It's Goatee Dad.
It's Goatee Dad.
And Goatee Dad basically condemns her to death.
Without realizing that that's his daughter. Mm-hmm. Without realizing he didn't even know he had another daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. But guess who knew?
So much.
Pixie Cut. Pixie Cut knew.
The fact that she hides that from him.
For over a year.
So long. Oh, God. And she does seem like she's gonna tell him or tries to tell him or wants to tell him or something, but then doesn't, and then can just sit. The way she just sits with at the dinner table, and like Hannah's like playing her and like wrapping around her finger and saying things like, I want to sit at the dinner table with Yebin, and I want to lay in the bed with Yebin, and I want blah blah blah, and she's giving her stuff she wants, so she doesn't tell her husband like, you know, I'm your daughter, but then at the same time is calmly sitting with her at the breakfast table or dinner table or whatever. I just was like,
I'm
crazy.
like, she's a psycho. That's why I said she's
that's
a psycho.
What I thought.
She's a psycho.
I thought she was. Yeah.
The Pixie Cut is a psycho.
Exactly. You have to
be out of your mind.
So then so the Goatee Dad is grieving like crazy because he's just like in utter
when Yebin tells him like, so his younger daughter
Yebin being the one to tell him. Oh my God.
Oh, what a moment. Because she's like, oh my God.
He's like, are you even human? Are you even a person?
Because, oh my God, it's so mocked on. Because the Pixie Cut says, oh, today is Hannah's funeral. He goes, I'm going golfing with, so-and-so. And she's like, I've told you for multiple days now, today's the funeral. You have to come. You need to come. You're going to regret it if you don't come.
And she still doesn't just say.
Still fucking doesn't tell him that's your daughter. Come to the funeral of your daughter.
She's like, you'll regret it. Okay, why? Why will he regret it? Just say it.
She doesn't say. She doesn't say. She's a coward.
She's instead gathering his golf clubs and all that crap. Like, I was getting so mad.
Oh my God. So then he goes golfing. He comes back drunk as a skunk. And that's when Yebin, his youngest daughter.
Wait, how did Yebin find out? I forgot. How does she find out?
Oh, because the whole community starts to find out. Sideswept hair.
Yes.
Overheard Hannah and Yeso arguing the day of the accident, the morning of the accident. And that's when she realizes, they're siblings. They're half siblings. That's hot goss. She tells Bob Cut. This is crazy. And then
Pyramid Dad's wife.
Yeah, Pyramid Dad's wife. And they talk with Pixie Cut at the funeral.
Girl.
They're sitting down like in the funeral hall talking with Pixie Cut. and they let it slip because side-swept hair is a big blobber mouth. She's talking loud all the time.
That's right. And Yebin
walks by and overhears, and she's like, oh my God, even more devastated. She was the only person who showed the proper amount of sadness and grief toward him.
Well, she loved Henna. No one else loved her.
Yeah.
Except Channy. Poor Channy.
Yeah, except Channy, who loved her too, but different, romantically.
Romantically loved her.
Yeah, yeah.
But Uju was also her friend. So
True. So anyway, so Yebin that night, her dad didn't show for the funeral, comes back drunk as a skunk after golf. She gives him hell. She's like, aren't you embarrassed? She says something like, aren't you embarrassed to be like this when you didn't attend your daughter's funeral? Like, Henna's your daughter. I think she says, you can't even call yourself a human.
Right. Something like that.
And I love that line that she said, you're inhuman.
Well, he didn't know, but so it's a bit unfair. But also,
I
do think he skipped it.
You can move golf.
Right. I think he skips it because he does feel guilty that he knows he sent some girl to her untimely death.
Yes.
And it's a girl he knows. Because whether or not he knows it's their daughter, he knows Henna. Henna's living in her house.
Yeah.
His house. So he knows Henna, classmate of his daughter's, tutor of his other daughter. It's not like she's just nobody. Rando.
He knew her.
And lived in her house, ate his food. He offered her a raise or whatever, extra pocket money, whatever, when Yebin did well. So they have this established relationship. It hits him so hard, like a ton of bricks, when Yebin says that. And he can't cope. He just can't cope. He's having a nervous breakdown from his mom at the fancy wherever she's hanging out with her friends.
I love that moment. He just embarrasses the shit out of her. And I'm like, do it. Say it louder. Wail louder.
And she doesn't care. She does not care because she is very single-minded and she still wants him to be the head of blah, blah, whatever, CFO or whatever he is at this hospital, and wants Yeso to be third-generation doctor. He is like, I'm quitting. I don't even want to work. I don't want to be a surgeon. I don't want to do this anymore. This pursuit of yours, he's like, it wasn't even my pursuit. I don't know, because it was your pursuit for me. It almost kills me. It does kill my daughter. You don't even care, blah, 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 blah. And it's just this whole breakdown of communications, which I feel like again, some Asian cultures, and not to say other cultures don't, but I can only speak for my culture, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that where it's people are so single-minded about whatever they deem to be success or whatever the goal is, that everything else does fall to the wayside. She doesn't care what he wants. That's not the point. She doesn't care that someone died, necessarily, if it means he's not going to be CFO of this hospital, right, or whatever it is.
Right.
That is her thing forever. She's 70, whatever years old, however old she is. I don't know. Still, she's like this. In her eyes, that's her son, and her son has to be the best. Yeah. Doesn't matter that he's 45 years old or whatever.
Whatever he is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy, but.
Yeah. It's super crazy because she's like, why don't we talk somewhere else? How can you do this in front of all of the customers? And he's like, my daughter, you're not hearing me. I killed my daughter.
Which is her granddaughter.
Her
biological granddaughter.
Yeah.
Just as much as Yeso and Yebin. But she does not really care.
Yeah.
She's so single-minded.
She's like, this is so embarrassing. I had my own.
She's like, what about my soup? I put in an order. For soup, so you're kind of ruining that.
Slap some sense into these people. And he finally does have this cathartic moment where he tells his mother, I never even wanted to go to medical school. That was something that you wanted to do. So I'm giving up your dream, not mine, Dad. I love those moments.
That she wanted for him. There's so much living vicariously in a way through your kids. And
yes.
Again, this whole concept of their success is yours to own and keep in a way.
Yeah.
And it's a credit to you. It's so weird in a way because I don't think we have this, I guess, throughout the US, maybe in, I don't know, Korean American communities. I don't know. But it doesn't exist in the US in the same way where it's Aunt Becky did what she had to do for her daughter, she thought. But it wasn't my daughter's at USC, and that's all credit is due to me. I don't know. It's different, I feel like, here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't necessarily get clout. I mean, I guess you do. I don't know. It's not the same.
But I don't think someone else is not going to throw you a party because your kid got into Harvard Medical School.
No. No. You're just like, oh, wow, that's great. Congrats. That's the end of it. I don't know.
You might be like, slip me the number of the tutor or whatever, the SAT prep person.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be like, let me throw a little mini ballroom, whatever, Viennese
with
waltz.
lobster and the whole string quartet.
Yeah. In your honor.
No. But the mother and him saying, you raised me wrong. My life is an empty shell is what he told the family.
He also was upset that he couldn't recognize that Henna was his daughter, which I found that interesting. I mean, I don't have kids, but I wonder like if that's a thing. I feel like could be.
That he didn't feel any connection.
Yeah. He was so blinded by his own ambition and everything, whatever was going on in his life.
Yeah.
That he's just like, okay, the help. We have our servant. We have our in-house tutor.
Yeah. Like he...
And she even looked at him and was like, Appa, like when she's dying.
Oh my God.
And he like saw it, but didn't see it, didn't register.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or he was like, she's delirious because she's dying. I don't know what he thought, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I like the fact that they were calling each other out on this in the final episodes about they did not care what happened to other people's children.
They did not.
They did not. Other people's children could commit suicide, could die. I mean, dire things could happen to other people's children, but it didn't matter. It's somebody else's problem, somebody else's story. It would never happen to me because I'm different. It was just like an arrogance about these people.
Totally. And
there was an arrogance about him when he made that call to not save Hannah.
I do think, I mean, like you said yourself, he held this maybe resentment, definite judginess towards his wife for being from a low-class family, a lower socioeconomic class, I mean. And it probably extended to the help, whoever he considered the help. So he didn't really bat an eye at Hannah or think much of her outside of like, oh, my daughter's happy because you're here.
So he calls into question his whole mentality about whose lives have value. Because I killed my daughter and I thought she had no value. I thought she was a nobody.
It's crazy. That was, even though it was makjang, it was, and like a bit ostentatious. It was still in a way believable or something. It resonated. I'll say that.
I agree.
But we had to talk about the coordinator.
Okay, the coordinator is the last person that we have to talk about.
Yes.
We could talk at length specifics about what happens to each character, and specifically Pixie Cut, because she has a lot of shit that she does and says, but we can't go into that because the coordinator, oh my God, what you got to say about the coordinator?
Another one with a secret identity. There's some parallels to some of this stuff with the Pixie Cut.
Yeah.
Yeso's mom.
Lying about your past and who you are.
Lying about your past, having different names because she was Jenny or Kim or something. Whatever her
Jennifer.
American name was. Yeah, Jennifer Kim. And from like Virginia, somewhere in the MSG.
She was in Fairfax, Virginia.
Yeah,
Fairfax,
Virginia.
Apparently there's a thriving
DMV
Korean American community in Fairfax, Virginia.
Could well be. Yeah, and then her daughter, she basically was a bit like Yeso's mom, but her daughter was already a genius.
Like a prodigy, yeah.
Georgetown or GW or one of those places.
Yeah, it was
at
GW.
age 8.
Yeah.
Okay. And then she is having some kind of fight with her husband. And then she might or might not have cut the brakes on her husband's car, but her daughter was in the car and they get into an accident. The husband dies.
No,
and her
she
daughter
did cut the brakes on her husband. Okay. So she gets accused of this was a whole thing throughout the show. Like, did she or did she not kill her husband by cutting the brakes on his car? Mm-hmm. Was there ever a doubt? Like, absolutely, she did this.
Right. She did. I mean, she was just as cutthroat as like, you know, Yeso's mom of like, I have to make the most out of my genius prodigy child. And he's like, can she live? And she's like, no, not through anything but academics. And then she's like, but you can't live either. Literally tries to kill him, but the daughter's in the car when this happens, and so she becomes disabled. Mm-hmm. And the prodigy stuff is gone. She's not going to like develop at the average pace of other people, intellectually or otherwise. So she just like hides her in some creepy house, like a safe house.
Literally in the mountains?
Yeah, watches her in the woods, like again,
a creeper.
Creepily.
She's a creeper.
She can't face her, I guess, or doesn't want to be in her presence or something. So barely ever sees her, gives her lots of toy gifts, and the kid is just doing like math equations or whatever, and her has that the prodigy. It's so creepy. Why she dresses her in a dress was like beyond. I was like,
oh
can you not
my
just...
God. Why the
child's frilly dress? Like, why not just dress her
like
like
a
an
little
adult?
communion dress. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a...
It had a rough, like a little
like
ruffly dress.
and
Taffeta.
yeah,
something.
it's just bizarre. Like,
It just made it so
more
creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this lady is a whole mess, a whole ass mess, and she was mentally ill, like, as well. So
Definitely.
she
For real.
was
She was
out to get these elite families as basically as revenge, like for what she did herself to her own daughter. Like, she shot herself in the foot.
self-flagellation she did through other people.
It's not even self-flagellation because it's not really hurting her to
it's
do
not.
this to the other families. It's like, if I shot myself in the foot, now everybody else has to get shot in the foot.
Right.
And that's what
Yeah,
she was doing. She was, and the tactics that she was using to, like, get into the kids' heads and shake their confidence and make them dependent on her. She was literally grooming them. It was
crazy.
Yeah. I love when people bring up grooming in K-dramas because I'm like, this is a very textbook grooming
This one
scenario.
is, and I feel like sometimes people use that word so lightly. And
They
it's
do.
not
They're
what's
like, oh, it's
happening.
flippant. Like, oh, it's the man's older than the woman by 10 years. Oh, he's grooming her. No, slow down.
No.
Like, that's not the case.
But this
100% of the time. This is 100% grooming. And it's scary grooming because she's got them locked in like a windowless
Even when she
room.
shows the like flashback of like touching Young Jae's, I don't know, somebody.
It was
like,
very
it's not-
sexual. Like, did you get those sexual overtones?
I was upset. I didn't want
It's
to. I
upsetting.
was rejecting. I rebuke it.
It was highly upsetting to see her like do the
it
one-on-one
was.
meditations with the kids,
Yeah.
which was basically her conditioning them to be reliant on her for everything.
So manipulative, so conniving, and they already like it's such a long con, and like they have all this trust in her and faith in her, and she's their one hope, their saving grace. So of course they have this like over dependence on her and overly trustworthy of her. Yeah, it was so upsetting, and she messed Young Jae up so bad.
Oh my gosh,
Was on the way to messing up Yeso for sure.
But I mean, at first you don't realize the extent of her manipulation tactics with Young Jae. Like, even when she says that little story to him, that little bedtime story of that couple in the olden times who had this inn and they would kill their patrons and bury them under the floorboards or whatever of their establishment, basically on the property, and then suddenly they have a couple of kids and they do everything possible to make sure that they are successful and can pass the state exam. This is like in a saguk, like something you would see in a saguk. It's a historical like little ditty that she's telling Youngjae, and they pass the state exam and they have high ranking positions, and when they return to their little town they instantly fall dead. They just keel over and die.
I was trying to make sense of this allegory.
Oh, really?
Well, I just was like not sure how what she's trying to tell him about it.
Well, I just think it was like a karmic thing. Like, she was like, you reap what you sow. What they reaped was death and destruction, and they were killing the patrons that came to their inn in order to steal their money, and then they expected their children to be successful and wonderful and great and studied well, and you can't have you can't.
And that's how he planted this seed of like, your mom is not your like friend in this situation, right? Has she?
Well,
or no?
I think the seed was when your parents are their happiest, that's when you exact your revenge.
Oh, right.
Like in that little story, the karmic revenge was your children died as a result of the shit that you committed.
Yeah.
And what she's saying was, you can do that. You can create that same effect manually in your life by taking away this happiness from your parents. As soon as you give it to
too.
them, you take it away. Commit this revenge against them. And she was very vague about like what this revenge would be. She kind of left it up to the kid. He ends up disowning
in the letter.
His
He
parents.
disowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is probably like I don't know.
And that's why the mom commits suicide at the beginning, because
he's like,
she thought she lost her son.
Yeah. Completely.
Like he cut her off. Like, forget the med school. I think she was more devastated that she lost her son.
I know. I was wondering about that because it's hard to tell with her because we saw her so little. Because if it's like, if that happened to Yeso's mom, part of you is like, I mean, she did love her Yeso. You can't deny it, I guess. But it's so,
it's not
like,
that she didn't love her, but it's toxic. It's a toxic love.
And it almost seems like it could have been, but we don't, again, it's a bit blurry, like transactional. If you go
exactly,
school, then I will
conditional.
Continue to love you. Very conditional, yeah.
So, yeah, she was feeding these kids some shit, like, every time. And then, like, you come to find out she wasn't even tutoring them. Honestly, she was stealing the test
this
questions.
Is the thing. I thought everybody knew that's what was happening the whole time. Like, from the bank meeting, I was like, what do you think is happening here? You think these people, the percentages they were giving, like 99, 100%, everyone gets into Seoul National University Med School. That's, what the hell else could be possibly happening?
They're
other than cheating.
Yeah.
And they have access to the CSAT, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, CSAT beforehand.
Right.
You know?
They have access to something, whether it was I think they were stealing their school's questions.
Finals.
Like finals and midterms questions.
Either way, to me, you should have realized, or to me, I was like, I thought that's what was going on the whole time, that you're buying a coordinator, in quotes, to cheat. Yeah. Very similar to Aunt Becky. It's not like she didn't know that her kid didn't play water polo or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they know.
We're going to have to put this story of Aunt Becky, like Lori Laughlin's thing in there, because I can't remember exactly what she did.
I don't even know if that was her kid, but there was like a gang of parents who were doing these crazy things. It was not
just her either. Yeah, no, it was like a bunch of
parents. And one of the things that this guy or people or whoever offered was things like staging photos with like a canoe or whatever they call those things, and saying you're on crew and you row crew and right. with water polo, and saying you play water polo. Like, you may have never seen
fake extracurriculars.
Those things in your life.
Yeah.
Yes. And taking photographs as though it's proof that you do this. I don't know what college application requires you to submit photos that you did these things, but that's what these people were doing.
I mean, massive fraud. Like, it's just, but this was fraud as well. And
yes,
it was so naive of the parents to think that they were just consistently getting their child.
Like, why would it cost this much if it wasn't high stakes cheating? Like, that was my thing. I was like, well, what the hell else did you think was happening?
Millions of, well, they were saying billions of won, but in US dollars, it would be millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. Of course they're cheating. How can they guarantee a result?
That's literally what I was so confused by the end, when they're all shocked and dismayed that these are actual test questions, not just a really like coincidentally lucky.
And the fact that the kids were also bamboozled, like none of them put two and two together.
I thought you were supposed to be smart.
Yeah, I thought you guys were smart. Like, as soon as you guys finished the first test, you guys should have been like, oh my God, all the questions that I'd studied were on the test. How sus.
Right.
They never put two and two together. Strange.
No. I mean, they didn't get much sleep, so maybe that's why. But no,
they weren't firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, it was very weird. That's only maybe my biggest hang up of the show was that part, because I was like, what did you think was happening? What did you think you were paying for? What did you think was going on? How could she guarantee anything? Why would you listen to her and bend to her every word and will? I thought this was all like an elaborate ploy to make sure she feeds your kids the test questions. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah,
but I don't know, maybe it's just me.
I'm not sure if we have much else to say about this show. Like, we went through every character. Yeah, I think so.
I just want to reiterate again that I think the acting was on point for what it was, because it could have been makjang in the way that's annoying, like how you don't prefer to watch those things. But they did a good job of being practicing restraint in certain areas. And the kids also, I'm shocked with the girl who played Yebin, acted so well and showed so many different emotions. Yeso too, because she's annoying, but she had her vulnerable moments. She was friendless. She had a crush on unrequited love with Uju. So
Yeah,
She
so
had
she
her
was
moments.
rotten, like she was selfish, and I love when the plant lady is like, "What are you gonna do with that spoiled, selfish daughter of yours? Like you can't do anything with her. Nobody wants to be around her. Like she has no respect for elders and adults. And she's like a terror." It was so evident that she was right. Like, and nobody wanted to work with her when she tried to get away from the coordinator and was trying to set up other
Study
teams
groups.
and get in on other study groups. Like, none of the other moms and students would allow her Yeso in because she burned every bridge in town. Just being
Right.
super condescending and mean to the other students. Yeah, no one's gonna want to study with you, bitch. Like it. No lie. The coordinator as well, like she maniacal madness coming off in waves off of her by the end of the show.
Yeah. The desperation.
The
and,
desperation. She tried to kill her child. Like what? I was like, she's a coward. Like there's so many.
I thought it was going to be murder suicide.
Me too. Me too.
Like they were going to both eat porridge or something, which I'm not sure that they weren't. Maybe they were. And
It was
just-
curry.
Oh, curry. Sorry.
They were going to eat poisoned curry and die together, mother and daughter. But then she finally got in the room with her daughter and felt some type of way.
Yeah.
Finally.
No, it was so sad to see the daughter go, I'm sorry, I'll study harder. It's just like she knew she created this whole situation. It was like
Yeah.
her own.
Is her own
She's-
making.
Make,
Of
yeah.
her own making. She did this to her own daughter.
The whole like time the plant lady was like, you guys are all so greedy. Your greed is getting to you. And that also applied to the coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it's interesting. I don't have kids, but like I think it's something to think about for parents about like one's own greed and one's own aspirations that they're sort of like putting on their kids that may not be, because it's not your life to live, it's your kids' life to live. But I think some parents would disagree, at least based on this drama.
Yeah. Also, I think I have one note here that I was like, oh, I should say this. The pixie cut. I think she had a pixie cut because hair in Confucian belief connects you to your parents. And she
Oh.
wanted nothing to do with her history, her parents, her father in particular, with her past. And it's like she's cutting it off, like cutting off all that connection. I thought it was really important that she had a pixie cut.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. Yeah, because you kind of had to wonder why because there's so much like displays of femininity and blah, blah,
Mhm.
whatever. And she did dress in like, dresses and jewelry and heels and things that are associated with femininity, I mean. But she had the short hair, which right now in Korea is not considered a good thing for anti-feminist people, because they think that means you are a feminist, which is a really considered a bad thing in some parts of Korean society. So yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah. We could talk way more about Sky Castle. If you want to talk to us about Sky Castle, we are totally game. We are totally game. Mina, where can people find you online?
Well, I will always respond to DMs on Instagram. I am Kpop Bookshelf. I do have my own podcast, Kpop Bookshelf. It's a bit of a misnomer because I don't only talk about K-pop. Actually, most of the time I talk about other stuff, Korean history and sociology and stuff like that. So check it out.
It's like a K bookshelf.
Yeah. But I got to reel you guys in somehow, so I call it K-Pop Bookshelf. But I do also talk about K-pop sometimes as well.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Mina, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking at length about Sky Castle. This was so much fun. Is there anything else you want to say about Sky Castle before we get out of here?
I actually would just really encourage people to give it a chance. If we have piqued your interest and you didn't watch it, or other people have told you like now is the time. Now is the time to just watch it, even though you're like, I don't know if it's for me. Just give it a chance. That's all. Only thing I would say.
I agree. We highly recommend it. Please reach out to us if you want to talk about Sky Castle more, because there is so much we actually did not talk about
For
this
real.
show, and a lot of specifics that are even crazier that we just didn't talk about. But that's been our show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God. Yes. Thank you. That's been our show. I'm Jessica, and this has been the Daebak K-Rambles Podcast.